Hey, that's one place of looking at it, I suppose. Appreciate you, gang.
You know, what is Jod going to do? We saw things that he was doing in that match. You know, we saw a couple of things where he was side stepping left a bit.
You know, I'm just out here playing my part. You know what I'm saying? Just doing what I can for the greater good. You feel me?
So I wouldn't even be sure what style of Steve he's going to come with. Let's see how Jod's going to adapt on this one.
So Brianna Stewart is cooking right now. Hold up. With 3 splash.
Steve was one of those characters that I've seen him mess with a couple times. So
I have to ask him the mentality of why he actually picked Steve. Because this is the second one we saw Yagami. Is there something that probably we're missing with the match?
Bro, I think Steve is nice, man. Like, he's got good evasion now because of that new stance. Still takes off a chunk of damage and still very overwhelming. Plays like a boxer, you know?
Talking about overwhelmed, dashing up in the face while standing 1-2. Down forward 1, rocket launcher, forward. Okay, gonna get the punch as well. Okay, no more playing around. Is below the bubble though. Needs to be very, very careful, but it's gonna get the light.
Chat, to play Mishima, do you have to master the God Fist or can you win without it? You can get, if your goal is to just get to high ranks online, you can get to high ranks without knowing how to electric or wave dash. But at a certain point, you're going to realize how necessary it is to have those techniques up your sleeve in order to perform better against better players. So like, if you just want to get to Mighty Ruler or Fujin or even like Tekken King, you could probably do it without knowing how to electric, but you are going to need it eventually. Because like I got to Fujin with Reina without doing any electrics at all ever in matches. But you know, it's such a powerful move that you are gonna want to learn it eventually. Especially depending on which one you play, because like certain characters need it more than others.
Almost got the lead in the set. 1 round apiece, 1 game apiece. Actually, the lead in the set's going speed kicks, bro.
Yeah, got that golden round.
Golden letter. That's a game, essentially.
Look at that pickup, though. Jod's always so optimized. But drops a combo, gets the throw, though.
It could have been so much worse. Could have been a multi-throw. Yeah. Maybe he just dropped it knowing or just thinking the speed kick to take advantage of it. Uh-oh.
Nice block while standing 1-2. He's done playing around now. Nah, I've said this before, those lows, man. When you block the low, you sometimes got to watch out for that second hit. You got to be
Let's go, Asia.
Very patient.
5-point game.
My man's doing strings. Yo, mom. He's doing
Trying to get ready for the angry old man tomorrow.
He's no friend of mine.
Doing a traditional electric wind God Fist is probably going to be the least important it has ever been for Heihachi. It is a tool that like he does rely upon and adds a whole lot to your arsenal. But like I said, you could probably get to like purples, blues, or even like Tekken King and beyond without doing a regular electric.
Is this gonna be it? Are you dead? I think you may be dead. Just like that. Maybe he's nodding his head like, I knew this was. I know. I'm a Nina player, right? I'm a Nina specialist.
Yo, shout outs to Doug from Paris. I feel like that's what's happening right now. He's like, yo, I got XP in this. I know how this works.
I mean, Doug from Paris is a scientist when it comes to Steve. Like anything you want to know again, Steve, like really, really peculiar situations, he's got them all labbed down. Like he's definitely one that you want to go to if you want to learn the Steve. Now, it's looking like he's going back to the Horang.
Who would be in the big content creator tournament? Idiots, Afro, Maven, Global, and RDC. Yeah, I mean, I haven't spoken to people yet because we haven't hit the goal and the game's not out. But like, off rip, I'd probably enter myself. I'd get the 3 idiots, Afro. Yeah, I mean, I could ask people from RDC. I think Mighty Keith said he'd be interested in playing. So I mean, yeah, I'll reach out. I know some people.
I like it. That's a new face. Nice block there, getting the while standing 1 punish. Backing up, army kicks.
Shot playing back pretty far.
Lithro would be so good. I don't know Lithro. Okay, I've spoken to Lithro once ever. I have had 1 interaction ever with Lithro. And that interaction was back in 2018. When Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, not like when it first came out, but at some point in 2018. So he started the whole dunking the Goku meme, right? Because he plays 16. And it's like, oh, this character is like 25% Goku, or like Bardock is like 50% Goku, or some shit like that. And I didn't know like what the fuck, like why niggas were saying the dumbass shit, like where it came from, whatever, like what the meme did, you know what I'm saying? And eventually, He made some tweet or something that popped up on my timeline, and I was like, oh, you're the one responsible for this shit. And then he replied to me with like a gif of like Ed from Ed and Eddie like sweating and going, oh geez, oh boy. Or, you know what I'm saying? And that's the only interaction I've ever had with Lithero. That being said, I don't know where he lives. If he lives in the country though, if he lives in the US, I could reach out and see if he'd be down to participate. He lives in Ireland? Ah, see, that might be an issue. We don't know how good the online in this game is yet, so that might not be possible. Also, the whoa pick looking good. Back to the tried and true. Steve was good enough to get a game, but he looks so much more comfortable on the whoa. Kid ZYZX, I have no clue who that is. Actually, Dotto might not be able to be in it either. Dotto lives in Japan now, so.
Flip over as well, goes low this time, nice. The reversal. I know bro, he couldn't afford this, but he's below the bar.
That sucks.
On set point.
Wait, like fully? What? Oh yeah, Dotto moved to Japan, if y'all didn't know.
Yes, this is the loser's side.
You being for real? I'm being dead ass.
Man, I love this song, bro. Big counter hit.
Swipes the floor.
Dotto just recently moved to Japan. He lives in Japan now. Holy shit, that's hella sub goals broken. Congrats, Lotus, good job. Hey, thanks. All I did was play games and talk shit.
And now he just seems to have continued that journey on into Tekken 18, winning the Masters. And it seems like every tournament you see Jod in, he's always making these top 8s. You know, qualify for EWC. Didn't do too well there, but you know, top 8 recently at UFA. We talked about it before the Masters, the win in the Ivory Coast.
Yeah. But no, like he's definitely been one of those players. I feel like just for 8 in general, you really got stays up.
It starts from home.
From players out there, bro. Biggest
did happen on the Challenger events, and it's just a reflection.
All right, hold on. I will actually be right back. I'm gonna let the VOD keep playing, but I'll be right back.
Nothing amazing happens.
Yo, my guy, Wandering Lotus with the 5 gifted. Let's go. And the 2 bonus subs from Twitch. Let's get it. Good looks. Greatly appreciate that. Very generous of you. Thank you so much for the support. What does that bring us up to? 2381 chat. 19 subs away from 2400. Also, what's good for that? Lodi Wody and Chatty Waddy. What's wrong with me? I'll be right back. At 2500, I donate 10 tier 3s. Just a reminder. Hey, chat. 119 away from Rambler tossing in 10 tier 3s. You know what I'm saying? Who got 10 on it real quick, though? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Spencer, he definitely made that safe and blonde bomb. And that's one thing Austin actually so good at is placing that blonde bomb. Obviously, it's quite a quick armor move. But just the way he uses it to disrespect you when you think you can press the buttons. Using a down jab. Again, using it, but this time makes it safe because it absorbs a hit. Okay, using that back 3 again, just really fishing with it. Back 3, back without 1 with the counter hit. Down back 1+2, the Shoryuken.
Okay, and real close to this stage hazard at the Evil Arena. Oh, big damage. Nice. Low smasher, okay.
Always got to keep that in the back of your mind, especially on a stage like this with the explodable wall.
You got to be aware of the stage hazards in this game. Bomb again, using the armor, man. Arslan using the bomb with the armor has been way too good.
Yes, this is very good. Okay, gonna get a punish there, back 4-2. Just look at this pressure. And yes, again, that blonde bomb. I'm telling you, the way Arslan places it, it's almost as like it's got like 100% hit rate with him. Nice conversion. Back 1, trying to catch Arslan. That's stepping. No break on the throw.
At least he takes that bad boy. Just stand at 3. Heat burst. Tetsu gets interrupted again, but sitting on the wall.
Does have Starburst and heat available though, but uses the heat burst. Nice.
All right, I'm back.
It's just gonna... No, just short the hazard. Gonna get punished. No, doesn't get the punish there. Sidestep 4.
Turned on the
Can you get a
offense.
tier 3 gift if you already have a tier 1 sub? I don't know. I know you can personally upgrade your sub. I don't know if someone can gift you a tier 3 if you're already tier 1 sub yourself. I don't think so.
Taking a switch of that Red Bull. Arsenal actually looking strong. Is he gonna make that losers run? It's now on Tetsu to answer back.
Not gonna be easy though. I know that.
No. And I wonder if he's going to stick with the Claudio, because he said that, you know, he may play Shaheen in this tournament, but I guess I'm kind of a fan of being able to use your main and adapt, you know, just take a step back like he's done. He's gone to the character selection just to kind of think, just, you know, just think about what just happened and make those adjustments. I feel like when you stick with your main character, it's something that you're more familiar with in the unfamiliar situations, you know, so you're not really thinking about things. You're just kind of like instinctively doing. So, okay, I guess we're going back to the arena. This time it's a good arena, you know?
Yeah.
With the crowd, not evil guys
I don't even know why these people are here, bro. Yeah, I don't think they understand what's on the line. This dude Kazi was like, yeah, I'm going to blow up a continent. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, no. I'm not there, bro. I've already left.
Nice, down back 1+2. One of Claudio's block. Probably one of the best moves in the game, but tried to get a little bit greedy with that combo. Down back 1+2, as I said it before, while running 1+2.
Nothing amazing happens here. Everything is ordinary.
Just to start it off.
Yo, Frenzy, thank you for the gift sub. Greatly appreciate it. Can't wait to get touched relentlessly because I'm a Videl main. Bro, what? Are you planning on capping the timer at 3,500 subs, or will you keep going after you hit the goal? Unrelated, what the fuck was going on with Twitter calling Trunks to drink? Somebody made like this really stupid ass meme video calling Trunks to drink, and it just caught on. As for the timer, I did put a cap on it. So I capped it at 120 hours. The problem is, because I've been pausing the timer, I don't know how to track how many hours we've actually been streaming and how many hours the timer has had on it in total. There is a cap on it. I don't really know how it like when the max length. Sorry, I'm having a hard time articulating this. There is a cap, but because I don't know how to like properly track or like calculate how many hours have been added and how many hours have actually been spent streaming and taken off the timer, I don't know when that cap would actually end it. So yeah. But at some point, time will stop getting added to the clock.
But it doesn't seem like it's what I meant to say. It doesn't seem like Arsenal's really going for the goal.
He was going for the juggler.
Trying to beat you up. Huh? Not dead yet. Another chance for Tetsu.
Haskiveta spends it just to get that alleviation of the pressure. It threatens with that Beyblade spin. Just be very careful. Guaranteed can't hit. This is scary. Sidestep.
Oh, jab. The cloud guy. Yo, the cloudy low into the cloud 9.
They put layback in this game, just let him keep his 50-50s. Oh, trust and believe. He's going to have 7 more 50-50s than he already had if Leg is added to this game.
Great answer. You seem like he turned up the heat as well, being a lot more aggressive, a lot more playing in Arsenal's face. You know, so a lot more of the running twos. And he saw a lot more of that kind of like set play, threatening, went into heat. And, you know, when Claudio was in heat, he's got a down back 1+2.
Finish the metaphor demo. Is going to be a long couple of weeks. Hey, man. Hang in there, bro.
I'm glad that you said that.
Also,
Smash, nothing to play with.
18 subs away from 2,400. Good shit, y'all.
You can't forget about it, but you should. Oh, here we go.
Yep, definitely gonna go to the wall. I like it.
Hope you enjoy One Piece. We're very far away from One Piece still. That's a very far goal.
Keeping it, dialing back that Tekken, keeping it nice and simple. Now he is being engaged down back 1+2. He's got one more, but gets out the running.
Now I will say we are a lot closer than I ever expected to be to it, but.
And again, it's gonna get punished. Ah, that was not a good punish.
Line bomb. Dash.
Down jab. Being very patient, does have it. This is definitely great. This is definitely great territory, but no, that was a big whiff there. Went for the Hail Mary. I respect it. Also,
very funny. A nigga who not only has not gifted subs, but is not even subscribed on his own, talking about, yeah, man, enjoy One Piece when you hit that goal. It's like, I'm hashtag noticing the One Piece fans who really want me to read One Piece. It's like, well, yeah, man, I can't wait for you to hit that goal. Can't wait for you to enjoy it. Are not contributing to the goal. You think Tekken 8 is the best fighting game out there right now? Nah, it's probably Street Fighter actually. It's the fighting game I like the most. I don't know. Street Fighter also has its fair share of problems as well. I think Tekken 8 is a pretty good game. I tried to make you play Digimon and you succeeded because now that's all I want to fucking play. Tekken 8 sucks right now. You just finished playing rank, Codus?
Gonna get a full combo now.
Not sure what that was.
Probably thought he was gonna get a wall slap, but I'm really sure that was a weird punish.
Winter character prediction: Kunimitsu. I hope and I pray.
No, ivory cutter. We'll be cutting.
Just found out you stream. To be honest, I've been watching videos for years. See, I feel like I talk about my stream and my videos all the time, though. You're not the first, nor will you be the last person to say that, but people say that a lot. It's like, oh man, I didn't even know you streamed. It's like, I mentioned my Twitch stream in my videos a lot, I feel like. And I record a lot of videos live while I'm streaming. And like in those videos, I usually say, yeah, and I'm live on the Twitch channel right now, twitch.tv/Lotus Asakura. Link's always in the description down below. And the link is in fact always in the description down below. Tekken 8 probably the most fun. Street Fighter 6, bro grabs make no sense. CBFZ I need it off my system.
This is last chance saloon though for Tetsu. He has to make.
Wait, who said they want Tekken 7 back? Because I don't. I mean, I liked Tekken 7, but I think I like 8 more. Only thing Tekken 7 has over Tekken 8 is Kunimitsu. Give me Kunimitsu and I'll never look back.
Very bad position, but against the flow, he's gonna get the full conversion. Or just goes for the 3-2 though. Gonna get the tail sweep. He's gonna have star.
You mentioned it in the beginning or towards the end. Normally, usually in the beginning.
Look at this chip damage.
What fighting game would you recommend for a DBFZ fan?
He's really using that heat system. Really locking Tetsu.
I mean, there's not. The thing is, there's nothing else really quite like DBFZ. Because if there was, I'd be playing it. But I mean. If you want other ArcSys games, you could play Guilty Gear Strive, I guess. If you want other tag games, well, 2XKO is coming out at some point eventually. You could play some cross tag battle, I guess, or you could get into Marvel. Like there is no other game quite like DBFZ out there, so.
I like it. That's something that Arsenal has a tendency to do. Go for those sweep the floors, wipe the floors in those kind of situations.
Yeah, he likes to do like round ending, wipe the floors.
Good block, good punish. I saw Speed Kicks and Fee play Tekken 7 when Tekken 8 was down. The Speed Kicks would get a jab and just backdash with Miguel. You do not want that shit back. That's how you play Tekken 7 though.
He's up 3 games right now.
Basically, like this now, is this really gonna play on the back of Arsenal's mind?
Probably not, you know what I'm saying? He probably kind of got high on the prize at this point, but I'm telling you right now, I bet you Tetsu's thinking about it.
The only game that could bring the same spark as Fighters is Naruto Fighters. I don't see this Hunter x Hunter game doing that. I mean, I agree with you. The Hunter x Hunter game does look like fun, though. DBFZ has to get a sequel at some point, though, right? It would just be throwing away a bag. You underestimate Japan's ability to just not print money and just throw away a bag at any given opportunity. There will be no DBFZ sequel. I can almost guarantee it. If there was going to be a sequel, we would already know about it. It's been 6 years. We're going into year 7. What? It's almost October. 3 months from now? Well, I guess 4. 4 months from now is the 7th year anniversary of DBFZ. If there was going to be a sequel, it would damn near be out by now. It would probably, at the very least, we would have heard about it. There's no sequel. Just like there's no Xenoverse 3, there's no DBFZ 2. Maybe one day, 5-10 years from now, we get a DBFZ 2 unexpectedly and randomly out of nowhere, like how we're getting Sparking Zero, which is another Tenkaichi game. But despite how it would just print massive amounts of money, despite how badly everybody wants it and how popular it would be and how much of a guaranteed success it would be, there is currently no planned sequel for Dragon Ball FighterZ 2, nor do I think it will happen ever, let alone anytime soon.
There we go. You got ABA, or the ABAB now. Got the baby at the end.
But yeah, man, Tetsu, you can tell right now, just really strong at like.
Also, welcome back, man.
Some of these situations where a lot of big players.
Is this live or a VOD? I mean, I'm live, but this Tekken match we're watching, this is a VOD. All right, next is Winners Finals CBM versus Ulsan. Right, these two have been bodying the fuck out of everybody else at the event, so. Wait, is that Tendo?
The second guy was you. Who was the first?
You know, the thing about Pride, Japan has that in spades. Someone pissed someone off. That was clearly when Bandai took balance updates away from Arxis. Yeah, I don't really know the situation in depth, but somebody over there doesn't like fun or money.
Yeah, he's golden speed.
Oh no, they're doing Jod versus AK.
Nino play his down bracket. The shakedown bracket. Shakedown.
DBFZ was wildly successful. I find it hard to believe they would just let it go like that. Nigga, do you know how many games are wildly successful that don't have a sequel? You know what else was wildly successful that's 2 years older than DBFZ and also doesn't have a sequel? Xenoverse 2. Xenoverse 2 sold like 10 million copies. And instead of ever making a sequel, they've just been pumping out constant DLC and like milking it for all it's worth. Just because something is successful doesn't mean that it gets a sequel. Unfortunately, this is not how shit works.
And now apparently AK is one of these players that has been switching up his gameplay style just so he can get.
I think 2025 or 2026 would be the year for DBFZ 2. I promise you that shit is not happening.
Why not? I mean, for me, I'm looking at the golden letters. That means you're up an extra game, right? Like if you get a game and a golden letter, that's 2 games.
Not really.
It is, because all you need is 2 more, and then that's the set.
I don't think that's how that works, Steve.
I'm sure that's how it works. What do you mean?
And other times, there's shit that's not successful that does get a sequel. For some reason. Nintendo's the best example of that. Bro, don't even get me started on Nintendo. They are the worst. They are the worst when it comes to we could print money, but we're just choosing not to. They are the absolute worst at we could print money, but we are simply choosing not to.
And AK's had really good starts against his opponents. It feels like the first game, people are trying to get a download to him, not the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing about AK. Like, he forces you to play his game in a lot of instances. I feel like the only person that really didn't kind of bend to it.
Unless a lot of Bandai leadership changes overnight, nothing is happening. Yeah. Trust me. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. I would love to be wrong. I would love nothing more than to be wrong. But I don't think I am.
And the down forward 2 from AK. He might be able to do enough damage. Still has heat available as well, as long as he doesn't drop his combo. He's got the loops. Heat first activation. Do we get a heat dasher? Nailed it. Running 2.
Man, you remember that?
Good shit, AK.
Hawk Falcon is something, man.
It's something. It's something. Man, I really wish that. Remember that they had the customized item that had the Hawk that would fly around them?
Yeah,
people hated that thing. I don't know why. I thought it was really cool.
Because it's distracting. That's all.
Don't pay attention to it. What do you mean?
Don't pay attention.
I remember there was an earnings call where Nintendo literally said we have too much money and that is not being spent and we're trying to figure it out.
AK still looking good.
Yeah.
Like.
And Jod, you know, he took
Imagine it's like we're just making way too much money and we don't know where to spend it, bro.
I couldn't remember earlier who else he eliminated, but JDCR, Speed Kicks, still alive here.
Yeah,
We just don't know what to do with all this money.
Yeah.
A shakedown bracket.
Shakedown bracket.
Step down 2. I like it. And start the round, we were talking about AK and how he had the right call against his opponents a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, especially in that Nino bracket, bro.
Yeah, and K was
Give me some. Yeah, they. You know what I'm saying? They could donate to the Lotus Asakura Foundation. That's for sure.
That's exactly what he's doing right here, right now.
Get me to 5,000 subscribers on Twitch. That's a drop in the bucket compared to what y'all got. You won't even notice it's gone, bro.
And he's still gonna have a tiny bit of that heat timer left too. too, so he could just run him and do a heat smash. Or even a heat dash, whichever one he chooses. I think heat dash probably makes more sense here for chipping. Oh, but the pressure from John, smart stuff. Don't let him get started. Is it gonna be great?
Yo, man, it's crazy how they actively like try to tear down the Smash community. This shit don't make no sense.
Above the bubble.
And I'll be right back, y'all. I'm gonna let the VOD keep playing, but I gotta run to the bathroom.
Down 4-1. I like the up close game to plan. Oof, engage. Right next to the wall. Running two. Bomb, engage of her own. Here comes Nina.
Such a good power crush tool. Oh my chip.
Yo, that movement from Jod, that's terrifying.
And look, I'm just in and out, right? He moves super fast at you, so you're panicking, and then he just slows it down, threatens you with just little movements.
One of the things you was talking about on day one is just his spacing, right? Like, he's been so good at placing himself right out of harm's reach, and it has definitely taken him this far in a tournament and loses quite a bit. But now, AK trying to take advantage of it. I want to see what he's going to do to chase him in some of these instances, especially with his back to this wall. Not a good position to be in versus somebody like AK. Now he's in great range.
Wait a
Now he's in great range.
Not anymore.
Now
See that? Above the bubble.
Yeah. Not in trouble.
Not in trouble. Yeah, there you go. All right, fine. Not even stubble. Make it double.
Shut up. And then goes for the low. Oh my God. Oh. Jesus, dude, not even. You know what? You're so stupid. Goes for the low to start it off. Yo, slap him up. The triple slap, nonetheless. I feel like if they put Anna in the game, she has to have a quadruple slap. She's got to slap.
Oh yeah, damn, the forward slap?
Yeah, bro.
Get tossed, no break.
Oh, engage. Oh, rage art again. Oh man.
He's been clutch with the rage arts, honestly, the entire day. It's hell and not dead. But it's gonna be very close to like single bubble. Uh-oh, below the bubble.
Now you're in trouble. Oh no! Bomb, but look, you're below the bubble, but you don't have enough life.
All right, I'm back.
Close it out, bro. All right.
Final round though. Game number 2. Jod needs this one just to tie it up, otherwise AK's got a 2-game lead.
Oof. Wow.
Slap.
Okay. I like that. Gets the slide. Do it again. Running 2.
Side step 2 as well.
You're finished.
Yo, it's so close. He went for the counter.
Tried to take it back. Not gonna work.
Rage mode, AK. Gotta be careful. Here comes the heat activation. Breaks
What a
through the
power
wall.
crush.
Ba-dum.
Jod tying things up 1 game apiece.
And Jod ties it up.
Oh man. That's how you know Jod in gaming mode. When you got the hoodie
Oh,
on.
you see him bobbing his head? He was telling us about that. He's listening to music, and he says that when you see him bobbing his head, that's when he's in the zone. He feels good.
Oh snap! All right, let's go.
No, this is super sick. We were asking him what kind of music he listens to. It's like instrumentals. Does some of them have words? I was like, okay.
That's all you. That's the only information you got. That you don't know nothing about the music.
No.
She's like, you get a title of the song or nothing.
He has a playlist.
I mean, it might be one. You should have got a theme or something.
It says some of them don't have words. Most of them don't have
the
words.
Assassination theme. He's like, actually, I was listening to a lot of
James
classical.
Bond theme, you know.
Mozart just dropped a new banger, so you know.
Mozart? Oh, he did actually.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
What's that guy been up to?
Shut up. Oh man, Elegant Palace. That's
Give me a second, chat. I'm grabbing some food. Haven't eaten anything today. Bandai's not the only culprit. Before we got back into this Cap God era, Capcom was on their own bullshit era. Y'all remember MVCI, the beloved sequel to one of the hypest fighting games ever made? Yeah, but that wasn't all Capcom, right? There was other things that play in that game coming out the way that it did, but Capcom was definitely, like, I feel like they're kind of like back into a new golden era, but they definitely were in the dark ages for a minute. Some of the bullshit they were putting out. Street Fighter V sucked, MVCI sucked. There's some other less than savory titles out there. And honestly, I feel like Monster Hunter World was like the rebirth. You know what I'm saying? Like, they dropped that shit, it was fucking incredible, and it's just been like, it's just been great since then.
Man, back and forth between these guys, very, very evenly matched, actually. And this time he starts them.
Yeah, that and Resident Evil, for sure. Granted, I don't play Resident Evil, so I can't speak of them games personally, but I know niggas was fucking with that heavy.
What I was talking about, not
he recognized the wall spell was going to happen in time. But this wall spell not going to happen either until Wild Stand 2 from AK.
Oh, wow, the re-wall splat. The realignment not going to be able to make it happen, though.
Yo, the drops on both sides. He dashed. Now AK's turn. No, sirree, the high. I'm ready for it. Josh, ducking and punishing.
All right,
2 rounds to 1.
They dancing, too.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get positioning on this wall. Breakable wall at that. Gets the punish. Beautiful. Gets the gray.
Yeah, but now side switch finds the engager.
Do it again. Oh, caught you peeking. And that's going to be a golden letter on the board, bro.
So how does it work now?
All right, so he's actually up a game. He's actually up a game now.
I don't know what that means.
He's up a game. Instead of it being 2-1, well, instead of it being 1.
Now that the Marvel Collection is doing as well as it's doing, I really hope we can get a new NPC4 with a Street Fighter 6 budget, especially now that the X-Men are home. I mean, that would be a dream come true for a lot of people, but I think that's still very much a pipe dream.
And the dash, yeah, huge lead again for AK or for John. AK now.
If it does happen, though, I'll be there.
Lots of grade. The slap's not going to work. The down 4-1 to close it out. Now it's technically 2-2.
October might be the best month this year for me. Me too, honestly. I can't imagine anything being... I mean, don't get me wrong. Because of this subathon, September has been pretty fucking insane, and I don't know if that shit can be topped. Because this has been, like, you know what I'm saying? But just in terms of, like...
No, you need 3 of them, dude.
Yeah.
Just like one of them doesn't do anything.
Shit outside of, I guess, my job or work or, like...
Society. Can we just...
Well, no, not even then, because then, like, Sparking Zero... Well,
you know how you get me out of society?
September and October has been the highlight of my entire year, that's for sure. Let's just go with that. December's going to be your month? What makes you say that? Shit, I hope so. If December was a huge month for streaming and for YouTube for me, that would be great. Because y'all know December is very important for streamers and YouTubers.
Make it up rules now.
What do we at? Game 3? What's your rules count?
Look, it doesn't change what game we're on.
Game 4. Jod versus AK.
And I ordered some food. Another November subathon trust? No. I would never do subathons that close together. We had a conversation about this. I'm a once a year kind of subathon streamer.
Nice magic 4.
Counter hit on top of that full combo. Gonna be able to use the heat. Yeah, he's gonna get the wall.
Akiyama and Matsumoto, directors of Street Fighter and the latter Street Fighter V after Ono left, have said they want to collab again with Marvel in the future. Also, Marvel Games leadership has changed post the shitty Avengers game, so I think there's actually a decent chance now. Yeah, I ain't saying that there's not a chance. It just seems like you know, it just still seems very much like a dream.
Jod smiling, but he's upset, I can tell. Engage.
There's anger behind those eyes.
And those smiles. Double guard break. We get 3?
No, he smashed the true mix.
December is when the CPM gets extra love for YouTube. Yeah, that holiday season, advertisers start paying a lot more.
There we go. Yo, give her the tour.
Working on a perfect, Steve.
Even Maximilian is fairly confident in the new game eventually, and he should be.
Wow, that's what we're talking about.
If I was his biggest fan of MVC as he is and as others are, I would probably have that confidence and that hope too. How often do I stream? Pretty often.
To the wall. She's got those.
Multiple times a week.
Takes the Oki. Double low. Oh, gets the throw. And the gray.
But that's actually kind of
I would say on average 3-4 times a week, but it could be up to 5-6 sometimes every day in a week. I would say like my minimum was usually like 3 or 4 times a week, barring like when I'm away on like a trip or if I get like terribly sick, which doesn't happen very often, or you know, some other outlier.
He can still recover. He can still recover that. He can still get the perfect. Oh, can he get the perfect?
If he does, we might need a guard activation. AK with the perfect. Hammers at me one more time, bro.
He had that set, but golden letters rules, baby. Oh, Rip's tie looks really cool. I like that. Alright, next we got Kanan Trench versus Arslan Ash.
The run back. Kanan Trench versus Arslan Ash.
Kanan Trench is the one who sent Arslan the losers, right? Or no, Arslan started off in losers. They fought each other in groups, I think. And I think Kane won. I don't remember.
Rainbow drop, gonna break it, but the position, it almost got out of there, but look at you, now you're in a bad situation.
Is everyone wearing custom gold outfits? So these outfits are in the game if you bought the collect or the deluxe edition, but people have been wearing them during the tournament because, you know, it's in the spirit of the event.
Oh, wow. Perfect usage right there, that heat smash.
Man, stars around, down to that was intentional, not, but it at least denies the perfect.
Wow.
Side step launch, here we go.
What's the reason for the 3 squares next to the score?
And some light back.
So this is the Red Bull Golden Letters event. And basically the gimmick to this tournament is that if a player, so the matches are 1st to 3. But if a player manages to get a total of 3 greats and perfects and or perfects, they automatically win the set. And that's what the 3 boxes are for. You plan on playing Heihachi? Yeah, I'll try him out. I'm not a huge Heihachi fan, so I doubt like he'd be a character I play a ton, but I'll at least play him for like a couple of days when he drops. I felt that side. Nah, I just was like, I've explained it multiple times, but it's not his fault he wasn't around to hear the explanation. I just had to like mentally prepare myself to repeat myself is all. It's part of the job of being a streamer. It is what it is. It's not that big a deal. I just had to... I debated for a second about whether I should just make it a command, but we're near the end of this at this point, so I'm gonna just endure. Who's the best Yoshi player right now? Oh, Kanan Trench. However, iMusician, who is the other player I would say is in contention for the best Yoshimitsu player, finished his military service and I believe just got sponsored by T1 and will be competing again very soon, and he could potentially be the best. So we'll see.
Let me get the wall. Yo, multi-throw. That's the true input one. You can see the sparks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you see the sparks, that's when they do the true input.
Oh, the true input.
Yeah.
Man, the flash is on point right now. That's something that Kane and Trick did not have a lot of success with in their first set, but now finding its place.
Wow, I thought the flash was gonna work. It did not. Oh,
nice.
Still gets the combo conversion, yo, Arslan.
Yeah, but it's not much damage, and it's gonna have a lot of gray behind it as well. Oh, we got him though.
No, you're all good.
Game number 1.
Arslan looking comfortable right now.
The young fella out of Germany is pretty good too. I forgot his name.
That's funny.
I know who you're talking about.
Engage.
What was his name? Fuck Nina. Felt that. Hate this character. Was good, Indra. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name. No, not Tetsu. Tetsu plays Claudio. He's talking about the Yoshi player.
That does so much.
Gray life starting to add up. Kanan Trench getting closer to a low life bar. Arslan Ash getting another
What's his
one on
name?
the board.
I mean, that was really
Feels like there's a Nina meta in this game. Oh, there is. Nina's like a top 5 character, maybe top 3.
Honestly, that one while standing punish while he was still in heat, so the bullets had extra damage into that.
Dragunov has started growing on me. Oh no.
Actually.
Arslan said before, if you saw his tweet, you know, I was not prepared to play on PC, but looks like he's getting used to it. Looks like he's warming up to this PC play.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get used to it, man. You got like a couple days to play on it.
Yeah.
But here we go. Game 2 now. This is losers quarters. Loser out at 5th. Winner moves on to top 4.
Oh, what a step. Arslan getting a launch. Yo,
combo.
The butterfly loop.
Damn, hold his flash though. Engage. Back 2-2. Into a heat dash? He's dead, right?
He'll be able to get the kill.
Or maybe not. Maybe not. Well, oh the pixel.
Sliver, and then the blockable tackle this time around.
Oh, I forgot about the blockable tackle. It's been a minute.
Don't counter hit. My man, see, I ain't even lose no life, but just in case. Let me steal some of yours. Look at the combo. The double flash.
Pressure now. Bends it immediately, catches Arslan while he was sidestepping that time.
He'll get more life back on top of it. To the wall we go. Oh boy, the damage. And this dude, while rising 4, yo, Kanan Trench blocked in.
Yeah, and that was super good too, because he recognized that Arslan would be aware of the full charge.
There's also Trizzy. Trizzy's American. He's not the player I'm thinking of. Fuck, bro, what was bro's name? I can't remember this other Yoshimitsu player I'm trying to think of.
Spin to get out of their arm. She's just standing there getting hit.
Man, look at the damage now. Arthur, big trouble. Kane trying to get 3 rounds straight here for game 2.
Can't remember homie's name, and I can't find it.
What? Yo, 1 game apiece, 3 rounds straight for Kane and Trench in that second one. What?
No, he is playing great today. I mean, there was a time when he felt...
Gotta step out again for a bit. Yo, take it easy, Van.
Out here, you know, so it's cool to see him back in form.
I mean,
Are they on PC for this tournament? Yes. Yes, they are.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, you're crazy if you're not looking at Arslan Ash to keep track of what he's doing in Tekken 8. I'm just being honest right now.
It is Sin. Sin. He won. He won. Was it crossover? I think it was.
Pretty convincingly in that first set that they had in the group stage.
Sin is the player I was trying to remember. I could not remember bro's name, but that is it. Yes. You see, Ram and Elfeld are going to be in the GG anime. Nah, I don't know nothing about that anime.
Like how patient both of them are starting to play if the matches go on.
And that's exactly what I love about Kane and Trench, right? You always think of him as this fundamental Yoshi player. He's not really about the gimmicks, even though he has them if he needs them.
What a combo right there. Kane and Trench has an opportunity now in heat. The 1-1. Oh, nice block and launch punish. Wait a minute. Kane and Trench.
I mean, his defense and his low block punishment has been fantastic. He's one of the few players that's actually launch punishing the generic blows.
Yeah, like the new punishment, right? Yo, rainbow drop? Yo, taste the rainbow?
I love it. Gotta get Go Puff to bring me some. In fact, I think I see some.
Oh, snap, you're right. Go Puff already brought you some. Never heard of it.
Thanks, Tendo.
How'd they guy get in here? You didn't know the code or anything. Gets the launcher.
You guys have any idea how hard it is to create realistic / acceptable reflections for metal in games? Appreciate that the graphics on Tekken 8 can handle the gold really well. I have no clue, but I take your word for it.
All day, like he would break his rainbow drop. He's like, all right, cool. I'll run in and do a normal throw, and it's been pretty successful.
It's a homing attack, right? The regular grabs are still homing attacks.
On the wall, still has heat. Engage, gonna continue to combo. Big damage.
Doesn't duck the bullets. Armor through. He's got a tiny fix. He's gonna get a lot of this health back though. Yeah, unless he gets hit out.
There you go. Round 4, the music's picking up. The sun's going down. Arslan Ash at the deficit round count wise.
Oh my God!
Wow. To the wall.
Oh, you want to do that? The cancel, a nice counter it throw broken. Oh, the bad breath.
Just the spin. Man, these. I feel like every time I see Kane and Trench play, he does a different combo. Oh, man.
Bro.
Oh my gosh. He eats the bullets.
Oh.
He gets him ducking again. Is it enough damage?
The fucked up part is he still might lose this round. Never mind.
Cover this.
Keep track of the eyes. Keep track of the eyes. Watch how they come in behind her like a serial killer. Watch it. Boom, right there. I like how the eyes are flaming and everything.
2-1. Kane and Trench in the lead now. Wow, that was a close final round situation. That's now Arslan Ash. 1 game away from elimination. Excommunicado.
There you go. Excommunicado. Bro, that was kind of sad, bro. We started the day and they showed the video and everybody's eyes was blacked out. I was like, hold on, man.
That was like a CIA video. You know, like got them all.
Exactly.
Targets eliminated. Excommunicated.
That's exactly what it is, man. Here at the Golden Letter Society, that's what it looks like when you're no longer in the tournament, bro.
All right, here we go. We're going to space. Potential final game. Your Arslan needs this one.
Yo, just stays ducking. Breaks the throw. Man, and it looks like Kane was really trying to get a reaction out of Arslan. Arslan blocks the low, launches properly. Does he spin the heat? Yes, he does.
Can't they make that move 1 or 2 frames slower? I mean, they could if they wanted to, I suppose, but they not gonna do that.
Still has them now. Still chipping away on Kane and Trench.
Oh, I like that. Oh, the armor to get through it all.
Oh my God.
And then the down four. When he is making quick work this time around. Gets the first lead in this potential last game of Kane and Trench can clean it up. Arslan Ash.
Nice duck.
I never do that. I know I'm supposed to do that, but it's so hard to do on reaction.
Nah, I'm with you, Steve.
You're not alone.
Oh.
Wait, a perfect too?
Perfect. 7 going to letters. It's a gold point.
Okay.
And if he wins 2 rounds anyway, it's over. Don't even have to be golden at this point, but if it goes to the final game, it might come into play.
Okay.
That sword twirl move Yoshi does really feels like it should be unsafe and punishable, but
especially deal with like, you know, potential spin and get out of there. Dashing up, making sure they're still close enough.
Yeah, Arslan keeping the pressure on. Keeping that life bar down. He's gonna try to spin.
Back to catch roll, back to get some life back. Re-wall splat. What are you gonna do with the Kane and Trench?
Smart defense from Arslan Ash, staying grounded that time. Rainbow drop denied.
Hold it down 4-1.
Yo, the pixel and Arslan. 1 round to present to a final game.
Okay. What are you gonna do with it?
If you're Kane here, you want to at least try to get 1 perfect here if you lose this game. But oh, nice down for the start of the round from Arslan.
Oh, jeez, and the floor is lava. What are you gonna do with it?
Boom.
Activates heat. 50%. I want half.
No, sir. All right. Kane's turn. Now Kane's turn. Rage and heat available. There's the activation for the burst.
Kane in trouble right now. Oh. Look at Arslan on the offense.
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful sidestep.
Oh my gosh, bro. That sidestep was crazy. He was so confident in that spot, too.
2-2 now. 1 game left. Will Kane and bro. Final game. Coliseum. Coliseum seems like an ideal place for society to hold a final battle.
Right? Yeah, it does.
Oh my god!
And it was a counter hit, too.
I thought he was going to land a bad breath there, too. As an anti-air. Yeah, great block.
Yeah, canceled just in time.
And Kane has been activated before Arslan's activation as well. And now the pickup for the combo.
Yeah, full combo conversion here. Get some life back in the process. Okay.
This wall carry's crazy. Oh, Shimitsu.
sheesh.
Bro.
That was insane.
Kane and Trench does different combos. I feel like every time I see him.
What's the theme behind the tourney? Like, why are they in a bank vault?
Down 4-1-2 is the classic.
I don't really have the explanation for that. I guess just thematically because it's golden letters, so gold bars and coins, bank. I guess that's the overall idea behind the theme and shit.
Tries to walk it. Again, enough to get the block. Arslan successful with the evasion. Slash kick.
Kane ran it so brave. He got the down 4-2.
Rage Art should get the kill. Go straight into it.
Looks like it's gonna be enough. Uh-oh is right.
Set point coming up potentially here for Kane and Trench. Arslan Ash on the verge of being excommunicated from the League of the Golden Letters. Not the League of the Golden Letters, it's Golden Society.
Yoshi's such a silly little guy. That's one way of describing him. Not how I'd do it, but
Down 4-1.
Pops the heat. No. Saves it. Still gets about 50% there though.
Step the knee. Good armor.
Great engagement. Going for the low, stays ducking, gets to confirm. Arslan still fighting and still has heat. Speaking of heat, Kane and Trench still has plenty of it.
Yeah, Kane and Trench can still close out this round. Spends the heat smash immediately here.
What for the block?
Arslan fighting back with a sword. He's gonna do it. If he finishes
That's
the
game.
This should be enough to excommunicate Arslan Ash from the tournament.
Arslan Ash is eliminated.
Definitely Dunzo and Dunzo.
Both players are sitting and waiting.
And Trench might be moving on. Arslan Ash excommunicado. Not gonna be joining the league, and that is what happens.
You know, Kane and Trench has been on some shit, boy. Telling you about that nigga Yoshimitsu too. Been telling y'all for a minute.
Can't dash one of them and get it.
Alright, CBM versus Ulsan. This one I know is gonna be crazy. Because these two have, man,
Winners final.
they've been on some shit, boy.
Versus Ulsan. Dragunov versus Jin Kazama. Gold suits are out.
Dress for the occasion. 1-2-1.
Engage. Back to one, denies the perfect. Get blocked, get punished.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you pointed that out, how some of the players are starting to do proper punish on the block lows, taking full advantage.
Yeah, it's Tekken 8, right? It's one of those system changes that's pretty different, and that people have, they don't have any muscle memory for it yet. They have to change their muscle memory that they've had for 25, 30 years.
Or maybe 4 or 5, because, you know, they haven't played.
Anybody gonna tune in for Dragon Ball Daima? Yes. We will actually be doing weekly watch parties here on Twitch on the stream. Watching it together, and I'll be doing reviews for every episode.
Man, and look for the parry, just does it. He missed the parry, just ducked the wild into anyway without a whip.
3-1. Into stance transition. Takes a little bit of Oki right there. Counter hit, confirm into the engager. Do it again.
Don't forget my offer. Right.
No. Kill, crush, destroy. The heat smash. The running two. Ulsan trying to close out on this game. Not close enough. You see a lot of players use that, especially at certain ranges, because it has a lot more range than it looks like it has, but still not close enough.
Highly doubt it will be trash. I also highly doubt it will be trash.
Ulsan 2 rounds up right now. A lot more running 2s than usual. And yeah, running 2 versus Jin used to be a bad
Low-key,
idea.
that shit might be better than Super.
Can, right? But not something you're seeing a lot of right now.
It's a lot more riskier in this game, man. You don't want to make a wrong mistake. You really got to telegraph it. Speaking of telegraph, it's the God Fist.
And the heat smash to the wall. You're done. Down 2.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's not like Super was that good. That's not really a high bar.
2-on-4. Like that, starting to open up his options.
Yeah, I'm with Angelo. Being better than Super is not a very high bar to you know what I'm saying? It's already going to guaranteed be significantly better animated than Super was.
Yeah, that back whoop was 2. He did that after he ran up, so he mixed up the running 2, and Jin or CBM actually did try to carry it.
Are you watching the sub or the dub? Probably the sub. I mean, the subs, I'm sure what's going to be out first, and I'm trying to watch it as soon as the episodes come out, so.
Mimicking the shoulder.
He's having fun out there, man. He's like, look, he's like, end of it, yeah, third hit, boom.
I'd be having fun too, I guess, if I was beating the shit out of people with Dragon off and winning hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit. Ulsan might be the best in the world, bro.
Situation, lots of money on the line. He's laughing, bouncing around.
It's looking sharp, man. The messed up thing is that he seems to be having so much fun with this character. I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah.
Power you wield with Dragunov.
I will tell you to switch, but you play law, man. You all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ulsan won DreamHack.
I got golden buns at home.
He won EWC. He won UFA. He won Clash of the Olympians. He's dominating in this event. Like,
down for him.
Yeah, Ulsan got to be a little careful now with his back to wall. You see the side step from both players. Repositioning Ulsan now. Look at this. Perfect.
Oh, wow.
He had his back to the wall, right? You just saw that little side step exchange, and now look at him keeping the pressure on CBM's back to the wall.
Demon Paul.
he's rolling in the money. Not even just the money. He rolling in the W's too.
13 seconds left on the clock. Down 4.
He did win a lot of money at EWC though.
1-2-1 counter it, and now the down forward 1 check. Damn, he is good. I mean, there's 2 or 3 instances from the moment I called it out where he actually repositioned to get CBS back to the wall.
Jeez, what a whip punch. To the wall. Side sword.
Son was second in Evo. He was definitely top 8. He wasn't second because grand finals at Evo was Atif versus Arslan, right? And then third place, he was either 3rd or 4th. He made it a decent ways into the bracket. It was 3rd or 4th. I just can't remember. But grand finals was Atif versus Arslan, right? So
while he has heat available, so that he can find a heat smash.
Ulsan was 7th, unless I'm bugging. All right, now I gotta look it up.
I love that option. Gets hit by the low. You're gonna try to sidestep. Tracking move. Engages right after.
This is ridiculous pressure. Get the tackle. Give me that.
Ulsan was 4th. He lost to Nobi. Damn, I forgot Nobi went on that crazy run at Evo.
With the armor.
He literally stood still, like, take your turn. Just kidding.
Go ahead. No, you don't.
I armored through those. 2-0, Ulsan making short work of
Also,
right now.
The only person who's been consistently beating Ulsan is Mulgold. He's played Mulgold in bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. He lost to Mulgold at the Soup Tekken League Autumn Super Tournament. He got second. Mulgold got first. He lost to Mulgold in the ATL dojo just back in July. He lost to Mulgold at Only the Best. He beat Mulgold at DreamHack. Remember, he won that shit 6-2. He lost to Mulgold at Super Tournament 2024. Yeah, so the only nigga like consistently beating Ulsan actually is Mulgold, who also has had a crazy run so far in Tekken 8.
You don't really see that from a character like Dragunov, right? But you can see it when he sidesteps around a little bit. But he moves incredibly fast. Yeah,
like if you think about it, like Dragunov has pretty limited movement, right? But if you go and look at some of his past characters, like the Kazumis, the Bobs, like you said, like the movement's always crazy. And he actually lives up to that just by, like you said, man, it's action per minute.
Yeah, right now, though, 15 seconds to go. Double rage available. And just out of range of that, just one backdash. He knew he was going to be in range for a whip punish. And CBM is in trouble right now.
Atif was in Golden Letters? No. I think Arslan may have been the only Pakistan representation in this event. I don't remember.
Wow, just do it.
Off the top of my head.
Hey, look at it, bro. Just look at it.
Also, seeing Ulsan dominate like this against CBM is crazy because we watched CBM beat the fuck out of everybody else.
Wow.
Atif was supposed to be there but was replaced. Gotcha. Do you remember who his replacement was?
And I like the back roll there from Ulsan. He trades off it. Oh, the wall's not still there.
Steal full combo. I thought he was going to go for Rage Guard. The down 4 hits. 15 seconds left on the clock. What are you going to do with it?
Look at the defense right now.
He finna. Oh, he didn't. Wow.
That was so sick.
That was a crazy.
Honestly, no, but it was a UK player. Gotcha. So that could have been Jod. That could have been Kane and Trench. Could have been Joka. Who are the other UK players in this event? Is that all of them?
Still a high and whip punish with the heat smash that time. In his face, punishes the hop kick, and just like that, it's set point for Ulsan.
It's on the low. Okay. Think about it.
A Lawper from the UK. Go Sane.
Right now.
Go Sane.
Not really.
I mean, if he got 2,
which is unfortunate because I think Go Sane went 0-4 in groups.
Right now.
Yep. Just by winning.
But right now. Oh my God. All right.
Out.
That one, great now. Could be so critical if TJ can get on the board.
There it is. That's all you need, man. Momentum switch. Winners finals, of course. Okay, waits for it. Trying to force a duck with the down 4-4. Perfect off the table now for CBM. Still gets to float. Great conversion there.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And he gets the wall carry out of it. Savage sword ender. Block there to punish. Pretty sure that's what he meant to do before. Didn't get the double button properly.
This when Ulsan was a random player. Me too. Me too. But hey man, Dragunov done made this nigga hundreds of thousands of dollars, so I do not blame him. If I could get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for playing Dragunov, I'd do it too. Shit, if playing Dragunov made me hundreds of dollars, I'd do it.
Oh, and then goes for the unblockable to call it grand finals appearance for Ulsan. You'll see how he's like, you know what? He hit
him with the scissors.
Oh man, and that's gonna be a grand final.
That nigga CBM is not happy, boy. You know what that look is? Hold up, go back. You lucky you my dog. I whoop your ass right now. You lucky you my nigga. Or I fuck you up right now. Bitch ass nigga.
Paper one now.
Fuck you and Dragon on, nigga.
And I know it sounds fun, but it's not a good out. And him on the up. To crown kicks out of there, John out of there. Way to right.
Also in his group, so it's gonna be like he's gonna repeat.
As you can tell, where AK is now
8 gift subs.
AK just having quite the showing.
Yeah, chat, gift 8 subs real quick.
Kane and Trench. But of course, CBM.
I know somebody got that on them.
I mean, I think
that'll put us at 2390. Then we'd be 10 away from 2400.
Obviously, all sent. And my question, I want to.
He's on a hot streak at the moment. You know, he came from that victory, UFA. He also
Oil Princess, my check.
Clash of the Olympians, and you know, EWC champion. It's going to be the 4th accolade he's going to get. Who knows? What do you think, Rip?
I have no idea. What did you say?
Oh, you can't hear me yet. Don't worry.
I can hear you. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Not saying. Do you think Ulsan? How do you think Ulsan's going to do?
I feel like Ulsan has actually taken out AK, and he's already taken out CBM. But I don't know that he's taken out Kane and Trench yet.
That's a good point.
No.
I want to see myself, because once again, like, Ulsan is definitely the person to beat. But however, and I told you this, I think Yoshimitsu fits so perfect in the Golden Letters format that I feel like the advantage is on the side of Kane and Trench right now. So I'm actually trying to see who's going to be able to stop Kane and Trench before he makes it back to Ulsan. But AK, obviously a threat and still sitting here just to contend, just like Kane and Trench is. So.
Hold on. Sorry, I just saw something. Kamala Harris, you know, the presidential candidate, is going to be on the All the Smoke podcast tomorrow. Nigga, what?
Again,
that's so random.
He's obviously the guy to beat.
Don't even know what podcast that is. That is the podcast hosted by Stephen Jackson and Matt Barnes, 2 former NBA players.
I think has been like the wild
and it
card
just,
in this bracket, to be said, right? Like if you look to the bracket before, and if you look at all the players before we started the tournament, he's the one you probably wouldn't have expected to make top 4, even though we know he's capable of that. And I think, you know, the sky is only the limit for that man right there.
The big question mark is this, though, right? AK. I mean, obviously, he had an incredibly close set with Ulsan, down to the wire, final round situation. He has been playing phenomenal in this entire event so far. I feel like his losses have all been down to the wire, if he has had any, right? So I feel like if Kane and Trench can get past him, then maybe he's got a chance. But still, CBM, and you have to get through CBM to get to Ulsan, which is still like no one you can overlook.
I mean, KDF looking
that's so random
right now, but here we go. Losers semifinal is going to be Kane and Trench versus AK. Winner takes on CBM.
Don't forget, we still got that Golden Letters format in place, so it could be over technically in 1 game if they do it right. But top kick, first blood on the side of AK against Kane and Trench. Let's go.
Hey, you mentioned it, like, you know, AK already has a win with the Golden Letters. Down in the set, nice damage.
All right, anyway.
Nice.
This is what U.S. politics have come to. It just seems mad, right? Like, I'm not like mad at it or opposed to it. It just seems really random. Anyway, Kane and Trench versus AK.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to play it my way, and you deal with it.
And that's again, AK is so good in the round start situation. I think he wins them more than any other player we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, I saw you guys talking about how, like, it was one set where AK made the right beginning match decision every time.
single time.
And that's so scary. Oh, engage, and he broke the glass, and he hit another one, bro. This guy, AK, this is exactly what I was talking about. Actually.
Exactly. We're playing my way, my speed, my pace.
What are we gonna start seeing some evasion there? Oh,
Wow.
Still got a little bit of a conversion.
Delayed hop kick, you madman.
He knew that was going to whip there. He's like, I can still punish you big time with this. Delayed hop kick.
Absolutely insane punish. AK now full crash mixes.
He dashes off of it, running to follow up, and closes it out 3 rounds straight to kick off the losers semifinals for AK.
I'm trying to remember how this group match went. Because I know Kane and Trench took it eventually, but did he make a change in the? I can't remember if Kane and Trench actually made the reverse sweep or something like that.
Don't recall.
It was a long time ago.
You know, now is the time he's going to have to do that because AK, you know, firmly in the driver's seat. But can Kane grab the wheel?
I mean, it's definitely possible, right? Like, he has the opportunity. Once again, it's Yoshimitsu, bro. Like, Kane and Trench is ridiculous, and it's just the fact that he has a very...
What's going on with Steve's mic?
With Yoshimitsu. All right, here we go. We're going to get back in the game, too. Let's see what he changes up.
Sanctum's back. You know it's coming.
Nice with that down forward two. Great timing. We're going towards that one. Okay, he's gonna go for the heat. Nice.
Take this to the wall as well.
I just tabbed muted for a little bit. I missed it. Kamala Harris, the presidential candidate, she's going to be on the All the Smoke podcast.
Yeah, I think he's super dead.
Wait a second.
Wow.
Both of you said it will be. I
He
said
said
could.
super dead, though. That's the ultimate curse. You can't say super in front of it.
It's really not all that weird. It's just really unexpected and feels very random.
Hold the wall. I like the side alignment, too. Yeah, he was trying to get the re-wall split right there.
In the back?
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Still in the back.
Oh my goodness. Nice
Spin
spin.
it backwards.
Out of range with the punch. Look, he's smashed. Oh, we gonna get.
I told you, bro.
I
Look.
think it is.
Wait. Lots of
You
scaling.
think it is, Bubsy?
Bubsy said something.
You know what? I'm just gonna.
Bubsy said something.
Perfect. There it is. Golden lettuce.
It was inevitable.
Bubsy, you have to.
inevitable.
I need to be careful.
You gotta be careful, man. Either way, AK gets a golden token up there. Nice back 2-2 from
Calling niggas senior citizens because they're 31 and 40 is insane.
All that chip spins it out there. Crash dash one. Catches him grounded.
Okay, blocks the slide. Gonna get a nice float combo here. Set the heat.
Don't mind Odd God chat. He's 13.
Nice. Smash.
Delay.
He ain't hit puberty yet.
Finally looking alive in this set.
He working on it though.
Nice punish.
Yeah.
And I love the vertical orbital afterwards too, just to stay out of range.
Yeah. Oh my. Nice
1-1.
flash up there from Kane.
That's something that Kane's known to do. He flash shots quite a bit. Nice twin pistons.
I think he was flash jugging against Arthur, and the orbital punch that Nina has kept on catching them too, so you can actually catch it for it.
Breaks the throw. I like it.
Oh wow.
Gets a conversion as well.
A full conversion.
Oh, but
Not quite.
And the 1-1. Okay. Wait
I
a
didn't
minute.
even know if that
Hey, being old is a blessing.
Yeah, I don't think it was, actually. I think he tried to hit
Being
something.
old is a blessing.
Oh no, in the back. Spins out.
or Kane, whenever he gets in, like he is spinning out of there, bro.
The fact
Bro
that
just
he
called my
keeps
parents senior
committing to
citizens.
doing
There's
something
no
like
way your
back
parents are
turn, I don't
31
care.
and 40 years old or close to that range. How old are you, bro? 11?
AK big lead gets the running too.
Oh, wow, this is good damage.
Yeah, guess for game. With mid heat smash plus frames. Mids, nothing but mids heat burst and try and stay safe.
Nice.
Nice break on the regular throw.
FBI, open up!
Oh, no punish for Kane. That's so uncharacteristic with a full
You know you gotta be 13 to be on Twitch, right?
Gonna be a full combo.
I'm 20, my parents are like 45. That's fair.
Oh my no, wait, the left miss. It's costly. It's hugely costly. That's crazy.
That's reasonable.
Oh my gosh, that's 2 games on the board right now.
And he gets
For
his,
AK.
gets his golden token too, man.
Damn, this is not looking good for Kane and Trench at all.
So what's the change here? I mean, again, a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that was definitely. I thought.
Hold
it was
up.
fully flat
Ace is
on
cutting
the
into this
wall.
lead. New York was up by, I want to say 15 at one point. The lead is down to 6.
That means unfaithful.
Unfaithful.
Oh, I heard
I've been
about the
learning.
bell.
It's unfaithful,
You know
man.
a lot of languages.
He doesn't. Don't listen to this
Listen,
guy.
I just know
He
words.
spoke Japanese to me earlier, now Pakistani, bro.
It's like the one sentence. That's it.
Wow.
Fooled.
Listen, Duolingo.
You know some French?
Dueling.
I just.
It's France.
Hog?
Français.
What do I think of the Knicks trade? I think the Knicks fleeced. I think it is a little unfortunate that they had to give up DiVincenzo in the trade, but to get Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle, you take that every day of the week. As for Minnesota, I think they made a mistake, but we'll see how it pays off long term.
Use the heat smash so he stayed safe regardless. Well, even on live, Kane says his heat there for 1+2 chip damage, nice break on the regular.
Yeah, that was a counter here as well.
This dude Kane does not shy away from using like the normal throws and times, and I love it.
Okay.
My food is here.
Back into the wall now.
Look at this.
Gonna be 21 next year and I already feel old. Bro, you are the youngest that you will currently ever be, and also as a 20-year-old about to be 21-year-old, trust and believe 5 to 10 years from now you're just gonna keep looking back like, damn bro, I was so young, damn bro, I was so young, damn bro. Trust and believe you are a child, you are a baby right now, okay bro? Enjoy it, live it up. Need to leave and I can never come back. You'll be alright, bro. Anyway, my food's here. RB. Pre-25, you was a young nigga. You're still a young nigga post-25 as well. The internet got y'all so fucked up, bro. Like, you're not old. Like, you're not even you. I feel like you gotta be bare minimum 50 before you actually can maybe start being considered old. You know what I mean? Like, when you're in your 30s, it's like you're just grown. When you start to get 40, it's like, okay, you're older. 50, 60, okay, now maybe you're old. You know what I'm saying? Like, the internet got niggas' heads so fucked up. Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they didn't let memes turn into like their actual perception of reality. It's like if you're over, like if your age don't start with a 1, all of a sudden you unk now. Like, niggas are so. Anyway.
What happened? Kane kind of reared his head like they did not expect him to be like. I mean, I think he just did it. I don't think that was a punish.
But even stranger was like Kane even going for that dash of flash.
Yeah, I mean, what is he expecting?
10 string! 10 string!
We have 10 hits and it moves AK onto set point.
We got to get a golden token for those next time.
First off,
Last 10 hit combo, you get a golden token.
First off, always forget that the newer characters still have 10-hit combos,
Yeah.
and it just throws me off every time.
No launch step and Kane gets power crush for his troubles.
Engage.
What in the world?
I think that was a messed up guard break.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Block. And still gets the full punish.
That side got blocked. I expect
The other thing about it too is that
Damn.
I want you guys to think about what your perception was. Okay, so let's say you're 20 or 21 years old, right? When you were
A lot of great life up
9, 10 years old, right? I want you to think about how much older you thought somebody was when they were 16 or 18, right? Like maybe you had an older cousin, older brother, maybe even like an aunt or an uncle or something, right? Who was like 18 years old. When you were 10, you're like, oh my God, they're so much older than me. They're an adult, they're grown. Then you turn 16, 17, 18 years old. You're like, man, that nigga was a motherfucking child. Like, why did I think my cousin was so old? The nigga was like, that nigga was still in high school. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel the same way that you do about that, that you did about that when you're 25. If you're 18 right now, when you're 25, you're gonna be like, oh wow, there's almost like no difference between me being 18 and 25. Like 25-year-olds are just big ass fucking like teenagers. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no fucking difference. And you'd be like, damn, I really thought the nigga was so old, but it really is no difference. And then, you know, you might be 20, 21, whatever. You think niggas in their 30s is mad old. By the time you're 30, you're gonna realize, oh, that ain't really what I thought. The same way when you were 10, you thought 18 was so grown and so adult and whatever. You're gonna continue to keep feeling that way until you're fucking 30.
He does a lot of perfect punishes. We've missed.
And then hopefully, presumably, by the time you're 30, you'll stop thinking like a child and thinking, oh my God, you're so old. And you will have matured by then.
Yeah, especially when he's got the no sword, he's gonna get some life back on that.
Maybe the range issue, I don't know, but either way, we're staying alive, going to another game. Kane and Trench.
Lotus, I have bad news for you. Oh boy.
2 games to 1.
You don't even stop physically developing until 25. Yeah, like as males, our brains ain't even fully fucking developed until we're in our 20s. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, you're literally still a child. Like, yes, legally you are an adult, but like mentally, most niggas are not. And frankly, I know a lot of motherfuckers who's close to 30 years old that are mentally still 7. So
Slide beating the heat burst. AK.
Another dominant round from full crowd sweep though gets him.
Okay, where are we going? There's the wall.
You get it as well. It goes for the wall break as well.
I don't think you wanted that. I think you wanted the low hit just to keep him out of the
If
wall.
you don't delay it, you get the wall break. It look like
why you say fuck me for? Not you, Rambler.
Yes, he did. Back 2-2. Gonna be a nice combo here for Kane. Are we gonna take this to the other breakable wall though?
I think we are.
Why is the legal adult age at 18 instead of 25? Because America wanted to send people into the military.
Still has the heat and the rage. Nice block abundance for AK. Look at all the help he's getting back in this combo as well.
I thought he was gonna get lost. I thought he was still gonna get the tailspin at the end, or the tornado at the end.
Oh my god, it's all mids. Surely the slide at some point, right?
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, surely, right?
I don't know.
That's why
Mid-
8 seconds. 7 seconds.
And again, set point for AK now.
Yeah, I think Kane and Trent tried to flash there after 1-2 and hit. That's like +8. You know, I think it'd take AK doing something
Wow, they fucked up my order.
to get flashed in that situation.
I asked for tater tots and they gave me french
Are we
fries.
going to see the slides come out this round, though? I have a feeling.
Which is fine, I guess, because I like this place's fries, but I want a tots.
Yeah, I'm putting my money on that one. Oh, okay.
It's still low, so that move counts.
That's parry, though.
Low parry from Kane there. That seems to really cost him.
Yeah, Kane's in big trouble right now. Is he gonna hit it? Does!
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Who broke that glass?
It was so slow.
Forward 1+2. Does it again? Back 1.
I'm trying my best to think my life ain't over and I'm 27. You are quite literally in the prime of your life.
I'm not ready to go home.
I don't want to be excommunicated.
I like the club benefits.
We tried to jump over, didn't get though. Slide.
Your life is very far from over.
This time, did I?
Oh, nice. I think AK tried to go for the guard break there. Not in heat though, so
Y'all know we don't die at 30 years old, right? Or 40, or 50, or 60. You know, barring unfortunate incidents. The thing is, obviously, you can technically be an uncle at any age. You know what I'm saying?
Look, what can we say that's
Like, I know growing up, I had some friends who were aunts and uncles because they had such older siblings when they were like 8, 9 years old. You know what I mean? But when I think of unk,
once again, like I said, I feel like
I think of somebody being an unk, you got to be like 35, 40 at least. At least.
that's in front of him.
I mean, CBM yesterday.
But also, I want to give you some perspective, right? So think about this. What is Shannon Sharp's nickname? What do we call Shannon Sharp? We call him Unk. We don't call the nigga Gramps or Grandpa. We call him Unk. Y'all know how old Shannon Sharp is?
so yeah, and he's kept on strong form today.
Shannon Sharp is almost 60.
And again, the KDF team, they're super strong. I mean,
Shannon Sharp is 56.
They were looking like a very good team, but now at this point, you know, maybe
That's Unk. That's Unk age.
And they've added Mogul to the team as well.
I was just about to say that.
Only gets better, only going up from here. But yeah, AK still sitting in that seat. He goes up against CBM, probably Jin versus Shaheen. Is that what we're expecting?
Most likely here.
Yeah.
I mean, CBM originally in the beginning of this
How old
game,
am I? What in the world like to know?
I think that's long since passed now.
Yeah. I mean, with the results he's had with Jin, I'd see no reason to switch.
And sidebar, when we got here earlier today, AK and Jod were both training in the player room, right? But AK was playing Yoshimitsu. So, yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. I mean, it just felt like it was preparing him for what was to come. But now, he's got a new order in front of him. He's got to take out CBM.
How was the PS1 midnight release on? You should know. You camped out with me outside of Walmart.
Here we go. It's going to be our losers final. The winner goes on to play Ulsan.
We was out there for facts. Twizzy.
Versus Aiken. At the start of this weekend, Bubsy, I said, I feel like CBM does not get the appreciation he deserves. He's not so regarded as one of the top players that he is in the world. And he's kind of outshined by the other KDF guys. I mean, today is his day to make that statement.
You were saying put some respect on his name, definitely, and he's deserving that respect, paying amazing.
Like you're wasting your breath, they'll never understand. They'll understand once they become that age.
Yeah, looking for perfect denied by the low kick. Sidestep hop kick from AK.
Okay, what do we got here? Engage.
Okay, like that.
Wait, roll.
gets away from that.
Back punch pushing him against the wall.
Rage. All right, that's gonna hit.
But it's airborne.
Wow.
It should be.
But I feel like this
I feel like it has
be
to kill,
enough damage
right?
regardless, right?
It should be.
You tell us.
I mean, things we've seen
For sure.
We've seen crazy.
I've got them all wrong this weekend.
No, you had. I forced you into the.
Fuck you all got.
Nah, the ones today, they were terrible.
Once today, no, you were
I was off.
Yesterday, you were like.
Timing on his electrics is so perfect. And the way he kind of like delays him just to realign as well.
Honestly, he does so well. 1, 2, 3, guaranteed mix up there afterwards.
No, I didn't. N2. Did you see it somewhere on Twitter or something, or a YouTube video?
And you can see him hitting it with the fake duck, right? He's like, yo, react, CBM. But CBM's like, nah, bro, I'm holding my ground.
Like, AK's trying to force CBM to interact here right now.
They saw it right there. He tried to interact with a hop kick with that downfall one, just keeping him floated.
It was good, Squire.
Nice.
On Twitter, you got a link?
Punish on the parry as well. AK taking his first round.
1 round apiece in this first game.
Yo, good luck, Black Star-Lord. You got this, King. Sparky Zero figures look kind of ass, not gonna lie. Wouldn't surprise me.
Could be a long day between these two. Oh my goodness.
Back 2-1.
Okay, starting to add up these pokes. Down 4.
Free mix up, running 2.
No break on the regular throw.
Sliding up for 1, down for 2. Respect my plus frames. Not that much plus, but
It's only +1.
yeah.
I think CBM being aware the only frame chips are jabs. I'm gonna do down 2. It's gonna high crush. I might get a count hit. But AK was like, I'm gonna do down 4 too. I'm gonna do it again, in fact.
Oh, that's not good.
yes, sir. Power flashing in his face.
Counter hit. AK working. I was gonna say working.
Doesn't matter. Gets the game anyway.
Oh. Maybe I don't want the collector's edition. $2 raise is OD. Good shit, Yozozuya.
We know we've spoken about how tremendous weekend we've had.
$2 raise is
But,
huge.
You know, it seems like it may be a little bit of a tall order.
I mean, CBM has definitely been staying. CBM has definitely been staying really consistent throughout the day. But AK is definitely, he's on the path right now to where he's literally trying to get back to these grand finals. Wow, this is 2-4, float.
I'm in a bad position, about to get all back 2-1. Nice. Get the parry, gonna turn and get that grey life. Well, not much grey life anyway.
Doesn't do much damage anyway.
Wow, of a start to a big boy combo.
Oh my God.
I think he should have used his heat there. Definitely wouldn't be able to take it.
Doesn't get the conversion either. And there we go. CBM on the board first round here.
Outside of DBFZ, when has Dragon Ball been competitive? So, people compete and get pretty serious in the Budokai games and Super Dragon Ball Z. Have you guys ever played the Super DBZ game? There's a competitive scene for that. But obviously that's niche. And those games aren't meant to be taken super serious, but there is a competitive scene for it, right? But as far as mainstream competition, showing up at like actual fighting game tournaments, being part of majors, being at EVO, yeah, it's only ever been DBFZ.
I'm saying, bro.
And there we get our first golden token. Again, AK with another golden token within as many sets.
Yeah, he's the one that's probably got the most tokens.
He was down in set against John.
Wow.
So that really works it consistently. Can work in the open, but wasn't ready for it. Over he's man.
Nice step on the forward ball. Could have got something a lot bigger though. Oh gosh.
Down 4, stay away. I mean, CBM in the corner right now. This is a treacherous position to be in, and
I don't think he pressed there. No, nice patience there from AK.
Yeah, well aware too, right? Because a rage art in that situation could steal the round. So well played by AK.
good patience. That's what punish there. CBM with a 2-4, down 4-1 again. AK in so much momentum right now. Just coming up a great win against Kane and Trent. Continue it here in this set. CBM has a mountain to climb right now, especially if he loses this round.
Yeah, he can't go 2-0 down here. He needs to somehow claw back these next 2 rounds. Forward 4-2, trying to get a heat. That's going to catch him. Yeah.
I like the 3-1. Goes in the stand.
Flip over now, guess down forward 4.
Nice.
No, sir.
Come on, CB, I'm trying to see you running back against Ulsan. I need that grand finals.
Got the hit.
Is he going to regret that punish? We're about to find out. He smashed spent.
He smash spent on both sides now.
Break his legs.
Are we going to see the crouch dash mix? Low, mid?
Back 2-1, 11 seconds left. Forward 4 gets nothing, goes mid.
This is scary.
Yeah, time, not an AK side right now. Needs to make up the life deficit. Way behind with 3. Not going to matter. CBM ties it up to a piece.
I think that would have been a great if AK1 is won. That would put 1-2.
I think Spike and Zero has a solid chance of winning Friday Game of the Year. I don't even think it'll be nominated.
Down 4-1. Attacking them legs, going low.
We try to use back 1-2 as a wood punish there, but Nugi was out of range.
Oh, wow.
The whole kick.
Engage.
What's happening now? What's the mix up? Goes to the slide. You're going to see another one. Okay. Uses the heat. Alleviates some of the pressure.
Smash again, gets a count hit. And oh my god, CBM stops ducking at just the wrong time. AK goes up 2-0 in our losers final.
Yeah, but drops off that golden token. Let you know he's doing the right thing, though. That's still a win condition here.
Yeah, this is rough, right? If you're CBM, you just came off that 3-game loss to Ulsan. Now you've got your 2 down against AK. Got to turn things around somehow, some way.
Now's the time.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Holy shit, what a shot from Sabrina and Nescu.
Situation when he was down, was able to make a
Yeah, them Liberty are not fucking around. Every time the Aces look like they have a chance at clawing their way back, the Liberty go on a run.
One down for ones on both sides, keeping a very small Tekken right now. Who is going to fire our first opening salvo?
Yeah, just paying that small Tekken on him against the counter off the 4-2 string.
The Eden Junkyard, I call that.
Yeah. There's that one. There it is.
That's not easy to do, I promise you.
It is if you're AK, really.
Oh, big counter hit.
One for the combos. Still has heat. Is he going to pop it? Yes,
he is.
Should take this to the limit. Back 3-2. Combinate string there.
Slide. Switch position.
Immediately gets out of there. The last hit, the string catches. CBM AK takes the first round. It was potentially the final game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's playing really well right now.
Running a nice sidestep hop kick. Threaded the needle with that one.
Welcome back, Van.
Downboard will keep him close.
It's not looking good for my hero, CBM.
Back to 1. Nice break on the throw.
Hands off.
Wow. He just stopped for a second. Like, for a moment.
The One Punch Man game was nominated in 2020. When is the cutoff, though?
Oh, the damage.
When is the cutoff for a game to be released in order to be nominated for a game award?
Off the wall, kinda.
You still watching that video later? Yeah, we can.
We didn't get the break he wanted, it didn't get it.
Mid-November, gotcha. I guess it'll be nominated. I doubt it wins, though.
Just cursing all the players. All right.
CBM with the electric right after now.
Next one, very nice. Heat smash. Okay, into the down for one. Keeps it very safe. Good work there from CBM. Gets around on the board.
Yeah, important round here. Need to get as many as possible. Forward 4-10, no go.
Just hacking at those legs, trying to catch him.
Probably going to Tekken 8? Yeah. I think Fighting Game of the Year, Tekken 8 is a lock for that. I don't even think there's competition.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like that's the first electric we've seen hit this set. Ooh.
Too much full carry there.
Yeah, miscalculation. Had the little catty corner wall. Counter hit.
Did y'all forget Street Fighter 6 did not release this year, or?
Nah,
There it is.
I don't think he
What was MK1? MK1 was also last year.
Red Bull. Gives you away.
Okay, AK just shy of rage right now. Both of them still have heat.
I like the patience there from CBM.
Uh-oh.
Needs to be careful. Chips into rage territory. That is great territory as well, I believe.
Wait a second. It's just a KO. Just a KO.
All right. Set point.
Okay,
Down
he has now
4-4.
been engaged. Nice step down 4-2.
AK
So successful with those.
AK's movement today has been absolutely on another level. He was worse, unfortunately, but now CBM is back to a wall blast. I see a wall blast in his future. Not anymore.
Does that count as a curse?
Wait.
Oh, wait a second. I saw too far ahead. No, I didn't see.
Bro, does that count as another one?
But CBM now has AK's back to the wall. And
I don't think anything else has come out this year. Maybe Rivals too.
Make something happen with
Will that come out this year?
the slide goes mid again.
Set point for AK right now to close it out, get to grand finals. Slide is good, and that'll do it. Excommunicado for CBM.
Get him out of here. Take his card, rip it up, throw it in the trash.
Are you surprised that AK closed out with anything other than the slide?
I mean, y'all sounded offended now. Like, just keep
Okay.
the slide. Like, it's the
I'm back.
I enjoyed it.
Big Sam, Big Sam.
Says the law player.
I
Of
was
course he
literally
is.
about to say, my man don't do nothing but slide, man.
I mean,
Risky.
now AK is sitting.
I mean-
he's sitting in the vault. That's 2 games sitting in the vault. He's gonna wait for his third.
Regardless of what else came out this year
to get in there.
and what's coming out in the next month or two, I don't think anything stands a chance against Tekken 8. Like I said, I think we can lock Tekken in 8. Lock Tekken 8 in. Jesus Christ. Friday game of the year. I think that's free.
AK was just looking so strong. CBM, I felt like he gets really once he gets started, it's really hard to kind of stop a gen momentum. And we saw a couple of those rounds, but AK did such a good job of breaking up exactly what CBM wanted to do. Kind of just the flame of CBM's game, he just put it out instantly, bro. Doused it in water.
You see that? And one of the things you actually mentioned, Steve, you didn't see a lot of the electrics coming out from CBM. We only saw, like, I think it was one successful one.
Yeah.
Didn't really threaten with that. I
And
guess
we
it's
were
just the way he was playing.
I think part of that as well is where you're seeing AK consistently threatening with the crouch.
Yes.
Crouch mix up. Like, you know, electrics are high. He's just going to go under it, and then we're going to see him punish very fast. And now I think they're trying to get their side selected. I mean, one thing about also know, he is actually a P2 main.
Is it?
He does prefer playing on P2.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think he might be. Because, again, if he thinks AK prefers P1, he might try and take that from him. So that's kind of like the mind games. In
All right, time for our grand final. AK versus CBM. Or, sorry, Ulsan.
I like we all said
Down.
I will.
You know,
Pakistan out there is still playing and competing.
All right, let's get it.
But even still, if you look at the Korea chapter, Ulsan is just one of the soldiers over there that's actually being so dominant out there and just showing up when they need to. But here we go. The first set, potentially final set of Grand Finals. Red Bull Golden Letter starts now. It's AK versus Ulsan. Let's go.
a big down 4-2 there from Ulsan.
We gambling? Nah, because this is the VOD. It's something already happened, so we didn't do any predictions on the matches because there could be people who already saw this, you know. Excuse me.
Oh, there we go. You called it. We're going to see one more. Go slow.
I can't believe he got that through. Get off of me, bro. Oh, I can't believe that went. That's the last blow into the range art. This guy, Ulsan.
You know what's crazy? He's getting health back in this combo. I think that could have been a great. But we're seeing him get a lot of health back in these hits, so I think we're not going to get that anymore. But that could have been a great.
What is it, Brubsy? Below the bubble.
Was it?
In trouble, right? It was insane, bro.
I was going to make that as well.
And you saw the way he looked at me. He was like,
It looked like he was Caught me off guard with that.
Caught him off guard is all I'm saying.
oh, man. Down 3. Gets it started. What an interrupt with the back 3-4.
Nice combo just as well. He was scared of the side wall, but just for a QCM4, we're going to see a lot of those.
We definitely going to see a lot of those. But Wild Standing 2, very fortunate. Trying to get a pick up there.
Oh,
Nice block.
what a punish! Oh,
my gosh.
That's why they're running 2 hits. Uh-oh.
And now my favorite part.
Can someone, like, I don't fucking know, spike all the pandas in the game plans with RPGs?
I think really, yeah, I think both these two do have throws.
Um,
Do the floor blast, so.
Kakarot was a huge disappointment to me because that game could have been
Duck and punish.
so much better. I just think the combat in that game really sucks. I just don't find the game fun to play at all. Honestly, bro. Honestly, now hear me out. I feel like most of you would not agree with this, okay? I think most of you might not agree with this. But those of you who do agree with me would really, really agree with me. If Kakarot was a turn-based RPG instead of like real-time action with that whack-ass watered-down combat that it had, that game would have been 100 times better. Now I know it's Dragon Ball. Who the fuck wants a turn-based Dragon Ball game? I would. But if the choice is combat like gameplay that's that bad, or it just being turn-based, I would prefer turn-based. But I'm also a huge fan of turn-based. I know some people aren't, and I'm sure that's not the ideal system for a Dragon Ball game. However, I am personally of the opinion that the gameplay in Kakarot is so fucking terrible that it would have been better off being turn-based. Nigga said die. Look, I knew there'd be some strong opinions on that, but I mean, I think Kakarot is fucking terrible as a video game. So, or okay, there's also this. Okay, so I knew most of y'all would not agree with that. If Kakarot would have just had Xenoverse's gameplay, that game might be one of the best Dragon Ball games of all time, honestly.
Why would you do that?
Like the risk reward there is not in your favor. If you take the slide, you have his back to the wall. It's very confusing to me, but it was the right decision.
I mean, that's the thing, I think.
But it was the right decision.
Yeah. Like the risk reward doesn't make any sense to duck there.
It's one of those I know situations.
Yeah.
You know that I know that you know that I want to do
in
this.
your head.
So you know that I know this is the right thing to do, and we're going to.
Chat probably doesn't know that a turn-based game already exists for Dragon Ball. Yeah, it's called Ultimate Tenkaichi. My fault. Anyway.
This is the evil arena where the bad guys hang, bro.
Is this where we hang out?
Nah, man.
Turn-based plus action component for dealing damage like the Mario and Luigi RPGs. I've never played those, so I don't really know.
Oh, now you're remembering?
Are we evil people?
Spent more time playing Sagas than Kakarot. Me too.
We hang out with
And Saga sucks, but as a kid.
Did you not hear Rip talk about how he was gonna let this guy pick the side so he can slide and then switch sides?
Rip is an evil guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm part of the society, bro.
Rip, we're all evil people.
Duh.
Oh, man.
That's one way to get your parry blow, not just a QCF4 in your face.
I guess we're gonna see another QCF4.
Saw you played the Fairy Tail game. Are you getting the new one coming out? Yes. I actually really enjoyed the Fairy Tail game. The Fairy Tail game actually is a turn-based RPG, and I liked it a lot.
I like the fact that he let it drop just to get the QCF4 and the running two. Oh my god.
Well, nah. So Van, the thing you have to understand is, and I don't know when the last time you played Xenoverse was. Offline, Xenoverse runs perfectly fine. Like the hit detection, the hitboxes, everything like that, all that wonkiness doesn't exist when you play in the single player, or it's at least significantly reduced. And frankly, I would still take that over what Kakarot's gameplay actually is. Let me guess, no one plays gacha games here. I play Honkai Star Rail.
Tackle follow denied.
QCF4 down to catches him out of the middle of a slide there.
Man,
AK delays that so much. The Shaheen jump.
I know I'm alone, not alone in this, but I know 99% of you guys don't agree. But I would actually like a Dragon Ball game that plays like Honkai Star Rail, like that kind of turn-based combat, or like a SMT5 Vengeance, or like a Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth.
I wouldn't be surprised the way you've cursed today, Bob.
I feel like that's harder to fuck up.
Poor guy.
Maybe we are evil people.
Maybe we do hang out here. I think I see Steve back there.
Nice block.
I mean, his slide blocks in this
Tactics
game so
DB
far
game.
have been
Hold up, bro. Where's the Dragon Ball Fire Emblem game?
connected. One more hit's gonna do it. Down one down.
And he gets the boom.
I don't know. Oh, no, that's good though.
Got so much
I
life.
think it's always good.
And the heat.
Crazy.
Let me get the wall.
Oh my goodness.
Is he dead?
Okay.
Did he die for that?
He's definitely alive.
I'm scared because he's probably gonna be in great territory.
I'm thinking right now.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Get a Steam Deck to run a PS4 emulator to play Digimon Story on the go. Rambler, couldn't I just get a Steam Deck and play the Steam version of Digimon Story? Couldn't I also just get a PS Vita and just play Digimon Story? Because I think that's also on the Vita. Also, the game's also on Switch, and I have it on Switch. You think it a little too hard, bro. Trying to keep your old save file? Oh, okay, well. Do PS4 emulators exist? Is that a thing?
Well, I think that was a guard break attempt. Definitely. Down two. No power out of range. The whiff punish from Ulsan. I mean, we're into a final round. This
Oh, well, shit.
1-1 and 2 to
Their
zero.
ass. I wouldn't know.
Does not want to let that happen. Should take this to the wall.
That was so good too. Ulsan ran into a down forward one. AK has a sidestep left for the launch.
Slide.
Half a life bar lead here. Can he close out and get a game on the board though?
Back, forth.
Like, just challenging.
Just drop back
Oh,
4-3
God.
these days, man.
He's got the life lead after all that.
Yep. And now AK didn't get a chance to use his heat.
Wow.
The fact that he was aware, that he wasn't gonna go that far and still kind of slowed down his punish, that was so good.
Bubsy, call it. Bubsy, call it.
What?
Is it dead?
Is it dead? No, it's not dead.
Boy, especially if you drop it.
Who did the what now?
What a low parry. Surprised he didn't just go straight in the rage art.
Oh my god. My bad, Bugsy. Who did that?
With Dragon Ball game, but it plays like Unicorn Overlord. I didn't play Unicorn Overlord, but I heard that game is incredible.
Okay, cool. We are now tied
Also,
up.
the Aces brought the lead back down to 8. Hold up, they fighting, boy. Oh, no. Is that a foul?
Oh my god. Oh man.
One side, 1-1 in the set. Dragunov looking good. Sheen, look at Steve. Give me your best Dragunov impression.
I get it. My man don't talk.
No, just give me.
Don't talk.
Is there anything really worth using a PS4 emulator for anyway? I wouldn't emulate PS4 games. You can still play PS4 games on my PS5. I have no reason to emulate shit. So, to me, no, but
1-2-1. He is engaged. Down 2 to follow up. Down 2 again. Do another one. Okay,
Excuse me.
There's down 2. QCF 4 again.
How is Dragunov getting in right
it's been for the mobile. Yeah, I get you, Ramla.
Back 1+2, plus range, running 2.
I didn't at first, but I understand what you mean, though.
Let me get some life back.
It's not going to connect. No.
How did you know?
Okay, another low parry. It's going to go to the wall. Yes, it is Masai again. He smashed sped. Down 2.
Okay.
I love the feelings from Ulsan. They got low parry twice back to back. Just does it again.
Stubborn. I like stubborn gameplay.
You can't deter me.
Like Steve, do it again. Do it
Do it
again.
again. People tell me do it again.
Down 2.
1-2.
Fuck is breakers? Hey, man.
He puts AK in the corner except QC. Alright, while setting 3.
Breakers is peak Dragon Ball. Interesting.
Is this a perfect? No.
Yes, it is. It's because Rip said no. He said, is it
Interesting.
No? That's why we got the perfect one.
Allow me, guys, please.
Okay. Oh, nice intro. We counted it there from AK. Ulsan with a golden token now as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the launch. Oh my gosh. It's so good.
Should take this to the wall. Nice. And now AK, big life and guard break through.
What's the mix up?
He smashed
Smash
it.
again, goes low.
Okay.
Guess after guess after guess.
That's Tekken 8, baby. 1-2-1.
Engage.
Down 3. Interesting. Up, down 3 again.
Back 1.
Alright, Jeff.
Ulsan switching up his game, going a lot more poke heavy than anything.
Oh, the tap.
I got 40s in my name. I'll sub if you ban the motherfucker who mentioned breakers. Oh, shit. Which one of these niggas said breakers was peak? Hold on.
Games to 1 now. One more game from becoming the
Cosmic
Red
Reaper?
Bull Golden Letters champion.
Look at that.
I mean, let's see. Do I value $5 more than I value Cosmic Reaper's life?
I saw the words and I was like,
He just read was on the bottom. It's read perfect.
that's a
2024.
He just read the trophy.
Don't do it. Hey, $5 is $5. I don't know.
could be the last game. AK having some time.
Could be these words.
I don't know. Chat telling me do it, bro.
It changes everything.
Yeah,
The could
there's nothing
changes everything.
There are no
That's a
guarantees.
veteran tactic.
There are no
This is a subathon after all.
Be enough.
you know?
$5 is damn near the most powerful thing in this stream right now.
Great people. Watching some great Tekken. Watching some perfect Tekken.
You should ban him for having 40 to his name. Banning a nigga for being broke is crazy. Bro, I just got banned from Lotus' stream. Why? They called me broke.
Stepping it down too. You don't see that every day.
Nice, while standing 3, full circle 4. How we missed you.
I love how it hits grounded.
I love it. It splats as well.
Nothing amazing happens here.
Hey, Rambler with the 5 gifted and the 2 bonus subs from Twitch. Good looks, really appreciate that. All right, who got one more on it?
When does QCF4 heat dash is actually less plus than just doing the move.
One more and then we at 2390. For the greater good, he gotta go.
Beautiful side steps too, man.
That was very nice.
If they didn't get one, shoot them both.
So just instead of doing something, sidestep punish. Very nice there from all
Well, Cosmic is already subbed. Well, they're both already subbed actually. I got 8 of them bitches. 8 of you niggas are getting murdered. What, a spirit gun? Or you just got 8 subs on you? You can spend 25 for the bit, then they're safe. All right, you guys get to live to see another day.
Nothing amazing.
Yo, Shaunimus. No, Shaunus. Not Shaunimus. Shaunus Prime, thank you for the 2390. Greatly appreciate that. Breakers with Dotto? Not gonna happen.
very fast every time.
Going heat fast.
10 subs away from 2400, chat.
Good tracking in my experience. But again, 1-1 in this game in the rounds.
Anyway, Osan up 2 rounds to 1, or 2 games to 1, 1 round apiece. Osan also has 2 golden letters to his name, or 2 golden rounds to his name. He shot that nigga. See you later, Joseph.
That's a magical back 4. And that's, you know, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just not gonna say nothing.
It's looking like the end, chat.
But here we go, tournament.
Like Osan about to claim another big victory.
What does he extend his tournament winning streak to if he wins this one?
Too many.
4, 5?
It's like 4 minutes in a row.
Okay, AK Hud is like, no.
Guard break.
No. Okay.
Oh, 1-4 again. Old sign.
Uh-oh.
Finally ducks.
Uh-oh.
QCF2, yep. He's a combo simple.
Nice. QCF. Okay. QCF 4 coming soon.
4-3 heat dash combo now with rage ball.
Will he spend the rage?
Dead, but it's gonna be very scary for AK.
I would go for Rage Art to take away all that great.
I would say I would just to take away all the gray health.
And neither of them have a heat to play with now. It's gonna be just AK with the rage. I mean, this next decision could decide the tournament.
I like how you said good, but it also puts my man. No, really close to great though.
That would one. It whiffs that one again. QCF4. QCF4.
Do it again. QCF4.
Holy shit. Also, is Dragunov QCF4 the best move in the game? Let's talk about it.
Junkyard.
Is the gold up top mean they got a perfect or a great? Yes.
Still tournament point for Ulsan.
Oh, dude.
That could mean absolutely nothing in one round.
Exactly.
Holy clutch.
Find out.
Down
Break
4.
his legs.
2-1 QCF4. I love it, man. Sneak 4. Ooh, sneak 4 right
Called
back.
it. Oh boy. I got full craft lows too.
Yep.
Brianna Stewart had 34 points today in that game just now. She was 12 of 19 from the floor.
He wants to win this tournament.
Dog.
Big lead for Ulsan though.
She went off.
For 1.
God, he got
safe.
rage.
Down
He's in
2.
trouble. For the tournament.
Again?
Are you kidding me?
Drop the combo. Plus frames. Save. Miss input.
Standing 4.
And Ulsan with another huge fucking victory. He's the GOAT, bruh. He's the best. Ulsan is the best. I think, like, I know he didn't win Evo, but like, I don't know, man. He been winning everything else.
So it's
And now Red Bull
this,
Golden Letters.
that's 4. And if we list off some of the players who's beaten AK back-to-back grand finals, Arsenal EWC.
The thing about people asking me to do collabs with people is that you gotta ask them. I'm down. Hey, bro, you gonna do this video with Afro? Hey, bro, could you and Dotto do this? Hey, would you do this with the 3 days? Ask them. If the question is, would you do blank with X person who is my homie? I'm down. You have to ask them.
But you know,
What did they play tag one?
there's a large book when it comes to the history of Tekken, and I feel like now we're right.
Can't be the best with drag. I don't care.
Tekken 8 is his own thing.
I mean, if you can't be the best with Dragunov, then you can't be the best with Nina. You can't be the best with Fang. Like, if we just exclude top tiers because we just like them.
Red Bull Golden Letters is a perfect example of that. You got like just the fact that we have Arslan here.
Lotus collab with Harada. Harada want to collab on some shit? I'm down.
CBA end,
Let him know.
There's so many great players that you have to look at that have been in tournaments around the world that are here as well that can contribute to that tournament count victory for Ulsan. So these guys are all victims. We're all victims. We've seen it. And the fact is that Ulsan is the champ. But it's been amazing. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. Real quick, man, starting with you, man. How you been? How's the
I had a
tournament?
great time. Great tournament. Love to see Ulsan get another W. Commiserations to AK. Played an amazing tournament, but just wasn't enough.
Bubsy, go ahead.
It's been an amazing weekend. Being involved in all the golden letters. Hope it comes back next time. Yeah, that's it, man.
Exactly. No, my first time here, man. Had a great time. Golden letters, dude. I'm happy to be here.
Well, look, man, it's a pleasure to be a part of the society with you fine gentlemen, but I'm going to send it to another member of the society to crown our champion. Jammers, take it away.
Welcoming in the new kid to the society that has to await further instructions. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got 4 tournaments on the trot, and now he is your Red Bull Golden Letters Volume 3 champion. Let's give it up for Ulsan! Ulsan, congratulations. Can anybody stop you at this point?
Maybe yes.
We'll take that as a yes then, but we have to wait for that. Now, are you on your way to Thailand for that TWT?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? That's all I needed to hear. Right, I'm going to back away because I need to hand you your prize, good sir, and you need to wait further
What character slash guest
instructions.
characters you
But
want as
ladies and
final
gentlemen,
DLC?
one
I
more
want
time,
Kunimitsu.
Let's give it up for Ulsan, your Red Bull Golden Letters champion.
He's the
Here
GOAT.
on Volume 3. Hang it up high, good sir. There you have it. He wasn't ready for it. Let him know because
He's
we
the best.
end with a bang. And he was quite surprised. However, over here at Golden Letters, not anyone can be inducted into the society.
Does anybody know what the prize was for this tournament? Like the first place cash prize?
Welcome to Golden Letters Head Live.
I actually don't know off the top of my head.
Gaming sphere in London. We're being joined by some legends right here. Harada-san, Michael Murray, and Flo.
The Mishimas are still dominating the world of Tekken.
This is back to back now for Ulsan. So he won Red Bull Golden Letters. Just before this, he won Clash of the Olympians. He won UFA before that, and he won EWC before that. So that's like 4 straight big events that he won. And he won DreamHack earlier this year. All right, let me find this Korea gaming video. All right, so Korea Gaming dropped a new video and it's called Every Fighting Game Type Explained. Y'all down to watch this? It's an hour long, so this is basically a feature film. Y'all down to watch? And then I think after that, we get into some games. Let me just update the category and the title. Wait, this first, I promise it's worth not shooting me.
It's time.
Oh, will it kill? Wait, why'd you link a super old episode of Will It Kill? There's something particular with this episode or the Digimon clip? Oh, well, it just took me to the beginning of the video. Where's the Digimon clip? Digimon Rumble Arena? Alright, we'll watch the Digimon clip.
Well, the second half of this show is a wild ride. I hope you guys are ready for some silly clips because, boy, they really delivered. I feel like everybody takes it as a challenge. Like, they just go watch the silliest, most made-up arcade footage Japanese tournaments ever, and they're like, this'll do. Okay, let's see here. This clip's tight. Okay. Alrighty, chat room.
Ah.
I ask you a very important question. Will it kill Digimon, digital monsters? Oh man, I love the Dig evolution in this. You know how there's like the meme that like when Digimon evolves, they turn into guns and shit? Like that's what this is. Let's see. 86% of you voted yes? Damn, that's a lot. This is like one of the highest ratios of yes and no I've ever seen in either direction. That just got me good. Sorry, chat. Continue your voting. Don't mind me. Okay, what are we at here? Final tally? 73-27. I want you to be honest, chat room. How many of you have any idea what the fuck's about to happen? Or are you all just
not a clue? I never played Rumble Arena.
Round start. I can show you the round start. This is round start. Jump, evolve. Evolution. Alright, here's the grab.
Nothing amazing happens here. Everything is ordinary.
Oh yeah, GG's. Well played.
Round start, jump, digivolve, into loops, into stun, into GG, TOD. Yo, Recordy, thank you for the tier 1. I greatly appreciate that. Welcome to the Asakura clan. You don't like Smash? I don't like Smash or Smash clones. What the fuck did I just witness?
Apparently, in this game, what happens is if someone falls off the edge, they spawn in the same place every time with no protection.
That's so
you can
fucked.
Just meaty them?
That's so fucked.
So sick. Oh, they really thought this through. Try wall break should work like this. You're spitting. Make it so that every time you break the wall, you land at their feet at the next wall. You're like, well. You thought you were gonna get away from me?
You thought you'd seen the last of me, hadn't you? All right, let's watch this Core video. Let's see what this Core gaming video talk about. Every fighting game type explained.
When Riot revealed the gameplay trailer for its upcoming fighting game 2XKO, a user on Reddit described the game as a Tekken-like, which caused a collective face-palming of fighting game fans.
Also, I saw a tweet about this right here. I just saw a tweet about this earlier today. Somebody made a tweet and said that they were like really disappointed that he used AI in his video because this is clearly an AI generated image, and they were like disgusted and disappointed and everything, and it caused a big stir on Twitter. I'm not really, I don't support generative AI and shit. Do I think this is grounds for a fucking witch hunt on Twitter or like blown away out of proportion? No, but yeah, he could have just used a picture of a singular person doing a face palm or something. Like I don't understand why he went out of his way to. He's a whatever.
Face palming of fighting game fans. It was like someone saw these spring rolls and called them burritos.
Burritos? Well, they're spring rolls.
Tekken and 2XKO are obviously different to fighting game players, but it's not surprising how these games could seem similar to the layperson. Look at how many have a character select screen, a side view angle of both players facing each other, and life bars depleting towards the center until someone is KO'd. Win enough rounds and win the match. How can these games be all that different if so many share these fundamental characteristics? But the same can be said about a genre of music like rock.
Wait a minute, this sounds like rock and or roll.
Rock music mostly has some combination of electric guitars, bass, drum kits, and around 3 to 5 members, but everyone knows punk rock is not the same as blues rock, which is not the same as technical death metal. There are so many different types of rock music now, but if you go back in time, you can trace its roots down to the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry.
If you were to try and give rock and roll another name, you might call it Chuck Berry.
Many artists contributed to the birth of rock, but Chuck Berry is described as the one who came closest to putting all the essential pieces together, thus forming an archetype. So too with fighting games, if you go back far enough, you can find its archetype, Street Fighter II: The World Warrior in 1991. Yes, it was inspired by many iconic fighting games before it, but they also served as prototypes that laid the groundwork for what Street Fighter II would become. Karate Champ in 1984 brought forward the 1v1 side-view martial arts game, but its clunky double joystick gameplay did not hold up over time. ER Kung Fu had health bars and multiple characters, but it was sadly single-player only, and even with all the lasting innovations Street Fighter I had, it still did not let you select a character. These games were popular and sold well, but none would get close to the impact and success of Street Fighter II, which would go on to sell
People are so unserious, bro. Why is Will Smith and Chris Rock in this character select screen? Anyway.
None would get close to the impact and success of Street Fighter II, which would go on to sell over 22 million copies across platforms.
Sheesh.
It just had the right combination of design and gameplay that became the basis for so many fighting games going forward, including major titles being made today.
22
what
million
exactly
is
are
so
these
insane.
design and gameplay elements that made Street Fighter II so successful that it transformed the arcade culture from one of getting personal high scores into one of beating a human opponent?
You win.
Well, for starters, obviously a versus mode. Having the objective be to mess up another human player is what largely distinguished the fighting game genre from the single-player and co-op beat-em-up genres. It's why people were confused when Sifu got nominated for Best Fighting Game at the Game Awards.
What the?
We were just talking about that earlier.
Excuse me?
If there were a classification tree for fighting games post
I mean, this is a video that I'm probably, depending on if it goes in the direction I think, where I'm probably just gonna start linking this in my chat, because like, when we say fighting game, when we're talking about fighting games, I'm not talking about simply a game in which you fight. It's the same way, like, just because you fight in the game does not make it a fighting game. You know what I mean? You know, it's like there's a certain connotation. There's something that we mean. There's a context there that we mean when we call something a fighting game. So like Sparking Zero, yeah, you fight in the game, but I'm not going to be looking at that as a fighting game. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a fighting game. Tekken is a fighting game. Jump Force was not a fighting game. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Like, yes, they are variations or like subgenres of fighting games, but they're not traditional. They're not more serious ones. It's the same thing where, like, you know how anime is really just cartoons? Like, anime is just animation, right? So it's like, it's not wrong to say that Naruto or Dragon Ball is a cartoon. It's also technically not wrong to say that Scooby-Doo is an anime, because in Japan, they'd probably just call Scooby-Doo an anime, because that's just how they refer to cartoons, right? But there's a very clear distinction and a difference when we call something an anime versus a cartoon. And I feel the same way about a fighting game, or about fighting games, right? When I call something a fighting game, I'm thinking of it in the traditional sense of a competitive, serious, like, fighting game. You know what I mean? And I wonder how in depth, and this is going to break down all different archetypes, I guess. So it's like, you know, 2D fighters, 3D fighters, anime fighters, arena fighters, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. But
Fighter 2, the fundamental characteristic.
So this video is probably going to still refer to a game like Naruto Storm as a fighting game. This is probably still going to refer to a game like Budokai 3 as a fighting game. And yes, by literal definition, they are. But like, the thing I hope gets taken away from this video, and that I hope he explains and helps people understand, is that there's a very big difference between like a Budokai 3 or Sparking Zero and a Dragon Ball FighterZ or a Guilty Gear or a Mortal Kombat or a Tekken. You know what I mean?
At the top should be a versus mode. From here, we branch off into two categories, archetypal and hybrid, or if you prefer, traditional and non-traditional, or, I don't know, classic and modern. Like many games before it, Street Fighter II was a 2D fighting game with a side perspective where both characters are always facing each other. This means that the character movement is described as moving backwards and forwards as opposed to merely left and right. Because it's a 2D game, you cannot evade attacks by moving to the third dimension any more than the original Pac-Man could jump over ghosts. This is why these NPCs can be so chill when a fight is happening right in front of them. They know they'll never get hit. Modern versions of these games might have 3D models and environments, but if the gameplay still takes place in those two dimensions, you still have a 2D fighting game, though some will call them 2.5D. But while you cannot evade by moving into the third dimension, you can evade by going up really high. So characters jumped higher.
My favorite fighting game is Halo 2
making
Online.
combat look
I love
like
punching the
smooth
enemies to
play.
death.
Making use of the 8-way joystick of the era, up was neutral jump, up forward was forward jump, and up back was back jump. Each of the 3-way jumps are at fixed heights, trajectories, and distances per character. Hold forward to walk forward, hold back to walk backwards, and hold down to crouch. Simple enough, but the directionals also control the blocking. You hold back to block, which is the same input to walk backwards, and hold down back to crouch block. If you've noticed, all the jumping and blocking are done on the 8-way joystick. This is because the creator of Street Fighter I, Takashi Nishiyama, wanted a 6-button game in an era where 2 or 3 was the norm. He would argue that a 6-button game wouldn't be too complicated if all the buttons did the same thing, attack. Nishiyama got his way, and Street Fighter would have no jump button and no block button for over 3 decades and counting. But there was an unintentional consequence of a hold back to block system, which had become a major part of the archetypal 2D fighting game to this day. The problem
Genius.
or feature of hold back to block is that the input for back changes depending on if your opponent is to your right or your left. If your opponent is to your right, you hold left to block. If they're to your left, you hold right to block. Simple enough, but which way should you hold here to block? Left or right? It's hard to know which direction is back if you don't know if your opponent will be to your right or your left. In this case, you must hold right to block because the opponent ends up to your left when the attack connects. Tricky, but that's what makes it so good. An attack that suddenly requires you to switch blocking direction to defend is called a cross-up.
So the first guy I ever saw do cross-ups, his name was Tony Tsui. I was doing cross-ups myself, but didn't even know I was doing it. I just do that for whatever reason. If I jumped into somebody really deep, all of a sudden the guy couldn't block it.
A big part of fighting games is to make your opponent defend incorrectly by mixing them up, which is unsurprisingly called
I'm gonna block
mix-up.
this whack-ass
Or more
mix-up.
specifically in this case,
Legendary
a
clip.
left-right mix-up.
I always want to see this stuff on ESPN. Let's get rid of the spelling bee already. I don't care about kids memorizing words out of a dictionary. There's no resets in the dictionary. There's no cross-ups in spelling.
But it's hard to cross someone up when
I mean, that might not be the type of propaganda I'd be pushing to support fighting games and push them into the mainstream. I mean, I don't, but you know, that's not really how I... Anyway.
they're a moving target. Luckily,
Young ass
Street Fighter
Mike.
2 also introduced knockdowns, which rendered a player immobile but invulnerable until they got up again.
Frankly, I think a lot of people in the FGC could stand to spend more time looking in the dictionary instead of learning new cross-ups and mix-ups. This is me. Just based off what I be seeing on Twitter, I just feel like it's a handful of individuals or several handfuls of individuals who could probably benefit a lot from spending less time in training mode and more time with their nose in a book. But that's just me.
With the opponent on the ground, you can get in position to plan your mix-up. If it hits like this, there's a small window where you can score another free hit afterwards before the game will let your opponent block. This glitch is what we now know as a combo. From here, you can do a special attack before your attack animation finishes and get a third free hit. Game is starting to look busted now. Look at this janky animation transition. Starting another move before the previous one finishes its animation is called canceling, a staple feature of the 2D fighting game archetype and extremely impossible in real life. Street Fighter II lead designer Akira Nishitani said, "We thought this was quite interesting and it didn't seem to cause any bugs, so we decided it could be a feature to expand the gameplay." So,
Man, the idea of combos being seen as like a glitch or a bug at first, and like I get it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait, what the fuck? How come he's able to hit me multiple times before I'm able to block? Like, I'm trying to imagine like being in that time and like people thinking that it's a like a glitch or a bug or like it like, oh man, the game's broken. Like, you know what I mean? It's so crazy.
another genre-defining accident. This whole glitch-filled attack sequence where you planned your left-right mix-up feels like you were setting your opponent up, which is exactly why they're called setups. But the left-right mix-up would not have worked if the game did not have hold back to block and used the block button instead. This is what Mortal Kombat did in 1992.
Like you just auto block crossups and you have a block button.
When blocking is done with a button instead of a direction, there is no left or right blocking to worry about, meaning no left-right mix-up game to be had. Whether Scorpion throws his spear or does his side-switching teleport punch, the answer is the same, block button. This would actually be a nightmare to deal with if you had to hold back to block, because you'd have to walk backwards to block spear and forwards to block teleport punch. But funny enough, this nightmare came true when Scorpion became a guest character in Injustice, NetherRealm Studios' first hold back to block fighting game.
How can you say that this move has been toned down? Look at it, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
It breaks the rules of the game.
This became a great example of a guest character bringing over their abilities into a host world only to harass its people with never-before-seen technology. Basically, what I call the Predator effect. Calls for tournament bans and nerfs would reach game director Ed Boon on social media, where he acknowledged the issue and promised changes. A glance at the 15-page thread on the Mortal Kombat forum testyourmight.com shows how divided people were when they found out Injustice would be a hold back to block game. Mortal Kombat is unique for being a major OG 2D fighting game that is not—
I actually strongly prefer hold back to block as opposed to having a block button in games, but I understand it in this context and why it was an issue.
Not hold back to block. Its rock music equivalent would be Elvis, a major OG rock artist who stood out from the others by doing his own thing and taking the performative aspects to the next level. But even without a left-right mix-up game, you can still have the high-low mix-up game, the question of whether you should stand block or crouch block, also known as blocking high or low. The rule established by Street Fighter II was that blocking high will defend against high attacks and jumping attacks, but lose to low attacks, which makes intuitive sense, look how vulnerable those ankles are, and blocking low will defend against both low attacks and high attacks, but will lose to jumping attacks. Not as intuitive, but that's the rule still used today. But high-low mix-ups in Street Fighter II weren't so scary because crouch block covered all attacks on the ground, and jumping attacks were easy to react to with stand block because everyone jumped so damn high. But there was a downside of crouch blocking, which was that you couldn't move. So a spacing game was played where you'd try to tag your walking opponent with a quick and long low attack while avoiding or blocking theirs. One of the earliest examples of footsies, the strategic combat focused on movement
Every fighting game's player favorite
but even still, crouch
feature,
blocking was
mechanic,
really effective.
interaction that they don't actually
beat blocking, namely throws and chip damage from blocked special attacks. But as you can see,
this is the new Corey
Street
gaming
Fighter
video.
had a this beats that, but that beats this kind of rock, paper, scissors gameplay, but with every choice contingent on timing and spacing.
Tomo's taught me a method called the TDR. Timing, distance, and reactions.
But a way to bypass this spacing game on the ground is to do a jumping attack. But the downside is that you cannot block in the air, making it risky. A big part of the game was to make people impatiently jump at you so you can strike them out of the air, also known as an anti-air.
What an anti-air!
This is how the game of fireballs and uppercuts became central to its gameplay. Street Fighter II's combat schematic became the foundation of the 2D fighting game and has been used in countless titles. But like with anything, the archetype would evolve, and in the early days, much of it was thanks to SNK, who poached the makers of Street Fighter I, Takashi Nishiyama and Hiroshi Matsumoto. While Capcom focused on refining Street Fighter II gameplay with all its bazillion updates, SNK was working on new fighting game franchises and innovating like crazy. Matsumoto's Art of Fighting in 1992 would introduce meter, super moves, taunting, and dashing, where you tap forward or back twice for quick bursts of movement. Street Fighter would add all these mechanics to its core.
I'm actually learning a lot because I did not know that.
In '93, weapon-based fighting game Samurai Showdown introduced running, tap forward twice and hold, something Mortal Kombat would again add a button for. Backdash and run would become standard in many fighting games going forward. But not all innovations stuck around. Nishiyama's Fatal Fury was the most experimental at the time, with its kind of 3D two-lane battle system, hold down forward to crouch walk, and a 2v1 co-op mode that made the good guys look like bullies.
Yo.
Nevertheless, with so many fighting game characters under their belt, SNK made a crossover game called The King of Fighters 94. This introduced the team battle system where each player picks a team of 3 characters and the order in which they appear. When a character's life bar is depleted, the next character on the team takes over. The player who can eliminate all 3 of their opponent's characters wins the game. As their new flagship fighting game, SNK would continue to add features in each iteration. KOF 94 introduced spot dodging, a way to dodge in place for a moment to avoid attacks, a kind of a pseudo dodge into the 3rd dimension. In KOF 95, they experimented with the option to do a longer 3-way jump, and Fatal Fury 3 experimented with the short hop. By KOF 96, you could do a running short hop called a hyper hop, which allowed for some sneaky high-low left-right mix-ups. Combine this with rolling, an evasion mechanic that goes through fireballs and people, and you've essentially got the control scheme for what we know as King of Fighters gameplay.
Man, those older games look so much nicer than the modern game.
Options added to the
I really don't like the way KOF 15
I think what
looks.
makes KOF unique in the current era of fighting games is that its movement options are kind of like a happy medium between what you would find in old Street Fighter and also in anime air dashes and whatnot. Like, there's a run option, which increases the speed of regular interactions, several different kinds of jumps that all have strengths and weaknesses, and classically also just really good buttons.
In contrast, modern Street Fighter at the core still uses controls from Street Fighter 2, but with forward and back dashing added from 3 onwards. Yes, Street Fighter games have had mechanics like long jump, parries, custom combos,
Man, what a beautiful
and focus
game.
attack, but these act more like guest mechanics that change from game to game, which is why each Street Fighter iteration is so different yet so familiar at the same time. But the thing that binds Street Fighter, KOF, and other SNK games together is the rule that you cannot block in the air. This keeps players closer to the ground, which is why there should be a subcategory for grounded fighting games. A great example of a grounded fighting game is Capcom vs SNK 2, which lets you choose which mechanics you want your character to have through its groove system.
It merges and compresses basically a decade of fighting game history into one game and tries to
Never
create
actually
all
played
these
that game
different
before.
mechanics or
I've always heard so much about it, but I've never
from
actually
each
played it.
game's original
Great
series
soundtrack though.
to make those characters feel like they could be at home. You can play with SNK style systems like with a spot dodge or with rolling with short hop. You can play with charge style meter or the stock style meter. You get a rage gauge and K group that's kind of like Sam shows, but with just defend that makes it feel a little bit like Garo Mark of the Wolves. But you can also play Capcom characters in those SNK systems, and you can kind of mix and match to really get something that feels like it's what you want.
Patrick, #1 USA player at this moment.
How to become anime.
After Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was released in 1994, Capcom finally started to flex their own innovations with Darkstalkers, their first post-Street Fighter 2 fighting game. It would introduce a 3rd type of blocking, hold back to block in the air. But there was a caveat. Air blocking could only block jumping attacks, not attacks from the ground, which includes uppercuts. This kind of partial air blocking was found in Street Fighter Alpha, and more recently, the Granblue Versus series. In terms of offense, Darkstalkers implemented a primitive form of chain combos, where a loosely dialed-in series of buttons would magically do a combo, a departure from the stricter link-based combo timings of Street Fighter and KOF-like games. It was around this time when combos were being recognized by both the players and the developers, and Combo Mania had hit a peak with the release of Killer Instinct, a game with a unique combo system that allowed you to do some that exceeded 10, 20, or even 30 hits during a match. But with great combos comes great one-sided gameplay, so they also incorporated a way to stop your opponent's combo in the middle of it, the Combo Breaker.
Combo Breaker!
But preferences for a Combo Breaker system can vary, and typically SNK and Capcom fighting games tend not to have them. But while Capcom says no to Combo Breakers, they were completely okay with adding dashing. Darkstalkers was the first Capcom game to add dashing for the entire cast. But these were no ordinary dashes, and they varied from character to character. Some would hop, slide, or even fly like Morrigan. But Lord Raptor would go one step further and break the laws of physics by performing the first dash in the air. We'd also see cartoon physics in World Heroes, where the two ninjas performed the first fighting game Double Jump in 1992. But how absurd would it be if everyone could air dash and double jump? What if everyone could also do chain combos? What if people could block anything in the air without caveats? It wouldn't be absurd, it would just be anime. Guilty Gear in 1998 would have air dash, double jumps, and true air blocking for everyone, opening up way more interactions in the air and truly distinguishing itself from its grounded counterparts. This new type of 2D hold back to block game was called anime, or sometimes air dasher. As a side note, the anime fighting game type mostly refers to the gameplay, not just the aesthetics. Some anime looking games are known to have more grounded gameplay. I'm looking at you, Granblue, and DNF Duel. Anyways, in Guilty Gear X2 onwards, they added a clever combo breaker system called Burst, which became a defining mechanic of the series. It's clever because you can only do it when your gauge is full, which means there are times a player can do their combo uninterrupted, times when they can enjoy the counterplay of breaking the combo, or times when they counter the counterplay by baiting Burst and starting another combo, this time uninterruptible. These big brain mechanics are common in anime games, and it's where you can find the most creative and nerdiest systems akin to what you'd find in a collectible card game. In Under Night In-Birth, this grind grid gauge measures who has the most grid blocks by the time
Under Night
this
mentioned
ring-shaped
Moss
meter
about to
is
pop out the
full,
woodwork.
which then puts that player into a Vorpal state, which increases damage by 10% and gives them access to chain shift. Would you like to learn more? Here's 27 tutorials and a PhD when you're done. How about a game with such long unbreakable combos that players have time to take selfies while they're getting hit? Anime games take the 2D archetype and bring it up to 11, visually, mechanically, and musically. If Street Fighter II is Chuck Berry, anime games might be progressive metal.
You know, they used to tell us our songs were way too long. We used weird time signatures and there were too many guitar solos. In fact, this song is in 17/8, so try to tap your foot to it. But we just won a Grammy, so I'm glad we didn't listen.
But Capcom had been building up to their own anime-like game, or more precisely, a superhero comic-like game.
American
right after
anime.
Darkstalkers, Capcom released X-Men Children of the Atom, which introduced their take on universal super jumps. Instead
I
of
don't think I've
making
ever
a
played
longer
that game, but that game looks gorgeous. Also, this game.
fixed jump arc like in King of Fighters, super jumps in X-Men went really high.
Man, bro, like,
so high they had to draw.
It's not that I dislike 3D models, but sprites are so fire. And I don't know if it's just my nostalgia because I'm a fucking fossil or what, but like, these sprite games look so much more. They just look better. They just look a lot better.
Twice as much stage background vertically. They even made an indicator for
And
the
I don't
player.
I don't know what it is exactly either, because like there are certain games that, well, I was gonna say there are some games that like I don't necessarily want to see like in sprite form, because what immediately came to mind was like Tekken. Like Tekken 8 is obviously 3D models and it's an actual 3D fighting game, and I think Tekken 8 looks incredible. I think it's one of, if not the best looking fighting game out, right? But Tekken would also be kind of fire. It's some really nice sprite work, but I don't, has there been, I don't know. Tekken is fine as it is, but like there are certain games where it's just like, go back to the sprites, man. The sprites were fine. Like KOF might not need to be 2.5D. You feel me? Like maybe that shit should be sprites.
That was off the screen below. But it wasn't just the jump height that was unique. Super jumps also let you drift your character left and right in the air for the first time, kind of like you do in platformers. You could also do multiple attacks in one jump, and characters like Storm had an 8-way air dash, and Sentinel could literally fly. Combine this with the fact that you can block anything in the air, you wonder why even be on the ground. You'll just be susceptible to high-low mix-ups anyways. In the air, there is no standing or crouching state, so there are no high-low mix-ups to worry about. Holding up back to jump and air block because you're too chicken to deal with a high-low mix-up on the ground is called chicken blocking. But this made air combat so good that they also improved ground mobility with dashes that you could cancel into other commands. You could even dash and cancel into another dash, which is known as wave dashing, allowing
You
players
think
to
Arxis
move
should go back to
extremely
sprites, or the
quickly on
exception to the rule?
ground.
Arxis is
But
absolutely
with
the exception
movement,
to the rule.
blocking, and multiple attacks all available while super jumping, you ultimately got a lot
Arxis
more
makes
battles in
the
air,
most beautifully
like a
crafted
superhero
fighting
comic
games
book.
visually out of
This type of fighting
anyone
game
else.
alone would be enough to distinguish
Like, I think
itself
Tekken
from
is one of the
other
best looking
genres,
games, and then
but
all
this
the other
series
best
of
looking games are
was just getting
DBFZ,
started.
Guilty Gear Strive, you know what I'm saying? Granblue looks really, really good as well.
In 1996,
you
Capcom
know.
would release X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which would become one of the first tag team fighting games, not to be confused with the existing team battle system in KOF, which only switches characters when one gets eliminated. A tag fighter lets you switch between your selected characters with a command, and depending on the game, you can even fight simultaneously with some limitations. But what really changed everything was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which let you call out your teammate to briefly assist you in the fight, also simply known as calling an assist. Again, SNK had a primitive version of this back in KOF 94, where you could call in a teammate only if you were stunned or in a hold. But in Marvel, you could call an assist almost any time you're able to attack, allowing for some oppressive offense and combos. Like, how do you block when your opponent hits you jumping while their assist hits you low at the same time? If perfectly synced, it's theoretically an unblockable. To give the defender a chance against this kind of oppressive offense, there was a mechanic that pushed your opponent away while blocking called push block. But the downside of having multiple characters on screen at once is that you can also get them all killed at once. When two characters of the same team are caught in a deadly combo, it's ironically called a happy birthday.
Oh my goodness. Happy birthday.
And in the rare case it's 3 characters, it's called a Merry Christmas, giving new meaning to the joy of giving.
Oh my goodness, that was a Merry Christmas. Well, I ain't seen a Merry Christmas in years.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 would establish itself as an archetype for 2D tag fighters, which became known as a versus game. But this tag system is also seen in games like Skullgirls, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, and Dragon Ball FighterZ, which are varying blends of versus and anime. If you look at the 3 subcategories of the 2D hold back to block games, you can notice there's a gradation that goes from "you sure you want to jump" all the way to "why the hell are you not jumping?" The archetype of 2D fighting game evolved to go more upwards.
And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is fairly common, so I'm sure some of you guys can relate. When I was younger, and I guess this only didn't apply to like Tekken, because Tekken, you don't really jump, right? But like, you know, growing up playing certain games, I was one of those players that like oftentimes I would just be like jumping all the time. Like no real reason, you know, I was a player who would jump a lot. And I feel like that's very common for like people who are newer to games, like newer to fighting games, or don't really know what they're doing in fighting games. They just jump. They just jump for no reason, whether it's like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. It's like dog, why are you jumping? I was a jumper. And so when I started playing games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear, fucking these other like versus games and like the anime games, it's like, huh, this is where I belong. I was meant to be in the air. I always knew it deep down inside. I was meant to be in the skies.
Can't go into the background. But what if you could? Rewind back to 1993 and you have Virtua Fighter, the first 3D fighting game with actual polygons and a 3D camera. At first glance, it looks like a 2D fighting game just with 3D graphics, but this is no 2.5D game. The background is now empty because it now has become part of the playing field. In terms of fighting games and gaming in general, it was revolutionary. There's an old Game FAQs guide from 1994 that describes it best.
Take a look at this. I found this on the internet.
Different is good. With the release of their first ever fighting game, Sega has broken new ground by designing the only current martial arts game whose draw isn't violence or the ever-popular magic moves, but whose draw is realism, fluidity of motion, and genuine martial arts techniques. But this focus on realism and genuine martial arts also affected the gameplay. Walk speeds were more realistic, attacks had way more frames of animation, and high jumping became much less effective, to the point where 3D fighting games eventually phased them out. This basically eliminated the left-right mix-up game, and like Mortal Kombat, 3D fighting games focused on the high-low mix-up.
Who needs it for Tekken 8?
The high-low blocking rules are similar to 2D games, except that highs are now always duckable, and jumping attacks are now called mids. They changed the name because in 3D games, most attacks that beat crouch blocking could now be done from the ground. Moves like gut punches, knees, and hop kicks became typical indicators of mid attacks, and Virtua Fighter suddenly made it extremely dangerous to crouch block because you cannot react to most mid attacks like you can with Cirque du Soleil jumping attacks. In later 3D fighting games, these mids could launch you and lead to a juggle combo, easily doing 40% or more damage. Whether they knew it or not, the mid would become a game changer. Over time, more and more 2D fighting games started to have mid attacks of their own called overheads, with a visual cue of an attack hitting downwards or a hopping attack, but they generally aren't as scary as mids in 3D games. Because crouch blocking became so risky, it became overall safer to stand block, which is the opposite of 2D hold back to block games. But the high-low mix-ups get even harder to block because Virtua Fighter allowed you to press certain sequences of buttons which would activate a flurry of attacks that can be a mix of high, low, and yes, mid attacks. These are called attack strings, and recognizing these patterns can help you defend against them, but with so many strings and variations, you're bound to get hit by something. This is the high-low mix-up game of the archetypal 3D fighter, and in a way, there are a lot of parallels to modern Mortal Kombat, which also has attack strings with mids and a juggle-centric combo system. But Mortal Kombat is a 2D game. What was it that made Virtua Fighter play like a 3D game, not just look like it? In 2D fighting games, you cannot hit a knockdown opponent by default. The attack
And how did they go from Street Fighter 4 to 5? 4 was such a better looking game.
Always hit them, which would lack any meaningful counterplay, unless you had some kind of shrimping mechanic or let everyone move like Aki.
Shrimp?
But in a 3D game like Virtua Fighter, they allow you to hit downed opponents because the counterplay is simple and elegant. Side roll into the background or foreground. This paved the way for the sophisticated get-up games 3D games are known for, and over time, 2D games started to add more get-up options to have more counterplay against setups. But the lateral movement in Virtua Fighter could only be done when knocked down, and sidestepping in a 3D game wouldn't appear until Tekken 2, but only one character had it.
Okay, so Tekken 2 was a 3D game, obviously, but it didn't actually have 3D movement. The only person who could actually do a sidestep was Kazuya. It's called the misstep, and all you do is do forward neutral, and like that. It'll move in and out. You can't really control the direction of it. It'll just randomly either go right or left. But he was the first one to do it.
Side dodging as a universal mechanic was introduced in Battle Arena Toshinden in 1995 with this rolling move. In 96, sidestepping.
Have you seen the previously described Street Fighter 5 leaked images? No, I don't think so.
In 97, Tekken 3 got tap up or down to sidestep and has had it since. In 98, Soul Calibur introduced its distinctive 8-way run system where you can move freely in 8 directions on the ground. Even with lateral movement, the characters would still automatically face each other, and the camera would lock on to the side perspective, though sometimes the cameraman needed to be fired. The ability to move laterally gave players 2 new ways to avoid attacks, sidestep left and sidestep right. In a way, this kind of replaced the role of jumping high to avoid attacks in 2D games, which is evidenced by 3D games phasing out its moon jumping. Jumping in 3D games evolved into realistic jump heights with the purpose of going over low attacks but not mids or highs, further expanding its high-low gameplay. But in one of the most controversial examples of the Predator effect in Tekken 7, guest character Akuma uses his 2D Street Fighter jump to go over Jin's otherwise safe mid-attack and do a 95% damage combo.
I can't believe what we're seeing here. Look at the life bar.
That was the first time where people really started talking about Akuma before, like, the Pakistanis came around, you know? And I think that moment in itself just shows just how dumb Akuma was, if we're being honest. Having access to tools like jump, which unfortunately crushes highs, mids, and lows, I think that's just not fair at all. And again, it breaks the rules, the fundamental rules of Tekken.
I'm Vincent, Super Akuma, they call me. I'll let you guess what character I play. Akuma is built around having great lows and not so good mids, right? Obviously he's got good mids, but it's the lows that are the real problem, so you have to duck more. In 2D games, most of your time blocking is crouching and you only get up for overheads. But in Tekken, it's the opposite, where you're standing and it's the lows where you make the read or react and duck.
You should not lose for simply holding back, and I think that's the problem with Akuma. If you just hold back, you're going to die, and there's no other character like that, besides the 2Ds, of course, and that's not Tekken in my eyes.
I think he would be less hated, probably still hated, but less hated if he was just a brand new Tekken character. The fact that he's a guest, you know, people are kind of xenophobic in that way, I guess. Because right now they feel like they're justified. You know, oh, he's got nothing to do in Tekken. I mean, yeah, but it's been 6 years, get over it.
I think I've just gotten used to it at this point. I've been told many times by people, oh, all you gotta do is backdash versus Akuma. I think that's great advice as well. I should backdash to the wall where I get killed for holding back. Great advice, guys. Thank you very much.
Gotta play on Infinite stage, bruh. Infinite is up, little bro.
While the 3D fighting game has become its own subgenre, it's difficult to make further subcategories because there are not nearly as many 3D games as there are 2D games, and the major 3D franchises are distinct enough to just be their own thing. In a way, Virtua Fighter can be likened to Buddy Holly, whose everyman persona brought a realism to rock and roll, while also pioneering new recording techniques like double tracking to give a more three-dimensional sound. By the late 90s, the market was saturated with fighting games that were based on both the 2D and 3D archetypes, so naturally there would be games that combined aspects.
No. What the fuck was that?
The 2D and 3D archetypes.
Fighters Mega. What the hell is this? Oh, y'all was just putting out anything in the 90s, for sure.
So naturally there would be games that combined aspects of both. In 1997, Capcom released Rival Schools, which had the familiar gameplay of 2D games like high jumping, magic moves, and special attack cancels, but it also allowed you to sidestep into the background like in a 3D game. But these games were not very common, and even Fighting Layer, which started its series with this kind of gameplay, ended up shifting over to a more conventional 2.5D fighting game, though it looks like they're going back. There isn't a particular term for games that play like 2D fighting games while utilizing a 3D plane, so for now, I'll just call them 5D fighting games because 2 + 3 = 5? I don't know. Maybe it'll become a thing when Tekken Cross Street Fighter comes out.
We had Tekken Cross Get Out!
But there also isn't a term for a fighting game where you
I remember
can jump
that.
downwards. There's a game called Antinomy of Common Flowers based on the Toho universe that allows you to do a three-way jump upwards or downwards with the middle of the screen being the quote-unquote ground that somehow is the center of gravity with the characters floating in the air. This means you can do an instant down-back jump forward air dash cross-up.
That game
Just
looks
imagine a
super
5D
fucked
version
up.
Of this game. At the other end, there are
I've never
also
seen that game before.
ultra-minimalist
That
fighting
shit looks
games like
fucked
Dive
up.
Kick that only uses 2 buttons and has no blocking. All these games take an assortment of aspects of all the categories to concoct something unique while still being based on the archetype. These games are to fighting games what platypuses are to mammals, and so we have the archetypal other category. If you've made it this far, congrats. This covers all the fighting game types based on the archetype, but there's still another half of the fighting game tree where things get really interesting. One day, game designer Masahiro Sakurai was at an arcade destroying someone in King of Fighters, but when he found out the players on the other side were a couple who had no idea what they were doing, he felt terrible. It inspired him to make an accessible fighting game called Super Smash Bros., released in 1999. This game was also a 2D game with a side perspective, but it deviated so much from the original fighting game archetype that people wondered if it could even be called a fighting game. The most obvious difference is the percentage system and stocks instead of life.
I want to see what this says. Confused because it's a game which is almost solely about fighting, yet loads of hate for its award for the best fighting game. If it's not a fighting game, please. What is ELI5? What it is and why? Elaborate? Explain? Is that some sort of, like, it's clearly some sort of slang. Explain like I'm 5 what it is and why. Okay.
The most obvious difference is the percentage system and stocks instead of life bars and rounds. The goal is to knock your opponent off the edge of the screen to eliminate their stocks, and hitting them increases their percentage.
This is like my biggest hang up, I think, right now, currently with the Bleach Rebirth of Souls game that's on the horizon. That game looks like it's going to be pretty good. It looks like they're putting a lot of care and effort into it. Stylistically, aesthetically, everything looks really, really cool. I'm excited about the characters that are in the game. Functionally, everything looks good. I'm not the biggest fan of the Konpaku system based on my first impression of it before I've played it. Ultimately, of course, I'm going to reserve my judgment of it until I've played the game for myself. But one of the reasons why I don't like Smash, and there's many reasons, but one of the reasons why I don't like Smash is because I want to play a more traditional fighting game, and I don't like the stocks and percent system in Smash. I don't like how it's a percent system instead of just a health bar. I don't like how it's certain percents. You have to, this combo doesn't work anymore, or this one only works at this, or you know what I'm saying? I don't find it fun. I just, you know what I'm saying? That's just me. Now, granted, the Konpaku system is very, very, very different from like Smash's percents and stock system, but I just prefer regular health bars, bro.
Which increases how far they get knocked back. But the combat itself also takes a very different approach. Remember all that talk about cross-ups, left, right, and high-low mix-ups, scary mids, overheads, and chicken blocking? In Smash, none of that exists because there is no auto-facing, and the game's controls
EXO, thank you for the prime,
different
greatly
to what
appreciate
side
that.
you're on.
Everything is
You
ordinary.
just move left and right instead of forwards and backwards, which allows you to attack away from your opponent, which would be impossible in a 2D hold back to block game. Smash also replaced the high-low blocking game with its intuitive shielding system. Holding the shield button will activate a protective bubble that covers your entire body until it shrinks. The exposed parts of the body are then vulnerable. This is much more intuitive than explaining to someone why this is a high attack. You also don't have to explain motion inputs because Smash did away with them in favor of a special attack button that does different things depending
Quickly, I think another thing as well, because I grew up playing Smash. I played Smash since the very beginning. I still own the original Smash Brothers on Nintendo 64. Played that, played Melee, played Brawl. But I played them as a kid growing up, just playing with the homies, you know, items on and everything like that, free for all, sometimes team it up, whatever, not trying to play competitively. I think the thing is now as well is that like, I can't not try to play the game in a more serious matter because of who I am as a person now that I've grown and matured, and also because of like the type of gamer I've become and also what I clearly do for a living. Like, I might enjoy the game more if it was something that I could just play casually with friends or whatever, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? Because I can't unsee it as like, oh, you fight in this game, so I want to play like a fighting game, but it's not really a traditional fighting game in the sense that what I'm used to or what I like. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? And to me, it feels, and I think Sakurai has basically said this himself, and like even Korea Gaming is saying that like the point of the game was to be more casual and accessible. And like Smash to me was fun when I was playing it casually and we didn't really care, and it wasn't like it was competitive because you fight in the game and you're trying to beat your friends, but it wasn't like how I take Tekken, how I took Dragon Ball, how Mortal Kombat, Grand Blue, Guilty Gear. You know what I mean? The point of the game isn't for it to be ultra competitive and sweaty and be taken super serious. And like that's how I feel when I play it. I'm like, this game should not be taken this seriously. And you could say that about any game, like, oh, it's a video game, it shouldn't be taken that seriously. But like I feel like there's a distinction, you know what I mean? And when I play Smash, I'm just like, this is just not a game for me to be taking seriously. And I feel that way about platformers in general. I just also just don't like the platform genre. Like if you want, the platformer genre. Platform fighter genre, I should say. That shit is not for me. I just don't like the objective or the, you know, the goal or the point of I'm trying to knock you off the platform. Like I want to deplete my opponent's health bar.
direction you're holding. If you've noticed, the way Smash works is like the many side-scrolling platformers you've played before. But also like platformers, the control you have over running and jumping is unlike anything in the archetypal games, even Marvel. In addition to double jumping, drifting, and short hopping, you can choose to fall faster by tapping down. You can also control the trajectory of your character when getting knocked around, which is known as directional influence.
Holding on, DIing in so he doesn't get pushed off.
And all this is done with a 360-degree analog stick, which is more directions than 8.
Blasting off at a protractor measured angle.
This level of control is why
Is
actions
this the last
per minute
Melee
enters the
Evo? I think that's the one left in
Smash
one, right?
at the highest levels, especially in Melee. It's no wonder Smash players call hold back to block games traditional. But as different as Smash is from the 2D and 3D fighting game archetypes, Smash has mechanics inspired by those games, like short hop attacks, roll, which makes you briefly invincible, and spot dodge, which are all mechanics found in King of Fighters.
The most similar game in terms of movement is probably KOF, where you have a lot of different types of hops, like you have the short hop, full jump, dash, hyper hop, and a jump in can be minus or plus depending on exactly when you time it, stuff like that.
Armada has no shield. Armada has Leffen is our EVO 2018 Super Smash Bros. Melee champion.
Hi, I'm Leffen. I'm a fighting game / Smash player, if you think those are different. But I'm mostly known for Smash, and more recently, through Dragon Ball and Guilty Gear Strive, I've been known more as a fighting game player as well.
This is two different EVO titles in two different fighting games, like we talk about Rarefied Air.
I think a lot of traditional
Boy,
fighting
got
game
that
players
Canada
think that
Goose.
Smash is, you know, like has very different mechanics and stuff like that. The step from like a Street Fighter or on Guilty Gear or Tekken to Smash is probably not nearly as big as they think. They can.
Did you ever react to the top 10 fighting games? I think that'd be a good video.
A lot of the hit lag blocks.
No, I didn't, but we could check it out.
Grab versus blocking, whiff punishing, and movement and all that stuff. It really exists in Smash. It just has different forms. And I think that's the same thing for like, you know, how Smash has few traditional fighting games. A lot of them were like, oh my god, you're blocking forever. Is there any real counterplay? Maybe you don't shield as much in like for as long sequences, but it's not that different from someone who gets edge guarded for 30 seconds and then barely makes it back. That said though, I think it does take a long time to get used to the other if you're used to one.
Now over 2 decades old, there are many platform fighting games made by indie developers and large studios alike, and major tournaments like Genesis that specialize in these games. Without a doubt, the platform fighter deserves its own subcategory under hybrid. The rock equivalent here would be the Beastie Boys, who combined hip-hop with rock music, inspiring a new sound that would explode in the 90s to the consternation of purists. So platform fighting games are a thing, but what about fighting game platformers? Before Smash, there was a game called Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, a side-scrolling platform game that took place in the Mortal Kombat universe. It was a cool
I think I learned about this. I don't think I ever played this. I remember hearing about this in like a video I think Ketchup and Mustard made.
Hilarious mess. They kept the 3-way jump, motion inputs, and backwards and forwards walking, but because it's a platformer, you sometimes have to walk in the other direction to get somewhere. Their solution? A turn around button. The fighting game platformer never took off, and Mortal Kombat Mythologies became its own thing, but that's not always bad. All sorts of unlikely genres have crossover into fighting game territory with great results. Bust a Groove is a 1v1 rhythm game where you can attack your opponent and they can attempt to dodge. Puzzle games have versus modes where you can give your opponent garbage. Tennis games can have supers, and so can Pong. You can PvP in MOBA or action RPGs, and of course, there's Maiden and Spell, a 1v1 bullet hell game. These games might not have any martial arts combat, but they have other elements of the archetype that give those games their fighting gaminess, and the most fighting gamey thing of all is a 1v1 zero-sum versus mode. Because each of these hybrid games are so unique without the constellation of varieties that platform fighters have, they belong in the hybrid other category. But I argue there's also a genre crossover game where you are undeniably in a martial arts fight, more so than in any of the games I mentioned. These games focus so much on realism, they don't play much like the archetypal fighting games at all, and have things like one-hit kills in the case of Bushido Blade, and even doctors who can stop fights in EA UFC. Yes, there's a doctor mechanic. The crossover genre here is simulator. And if you doubt there should be a distinction between a typical fighting game and a fighting simulator, consider the difference between Gran Turismo, a game that has turned players into actual professional race car drivers, and Mario Kart, a racing game where you can turn into a bullet. The difference is that fighting sims are not nearly as common, so off to the other category they go.
What's the But there's a game niggas be talking about to me sometimes, and they be calling it a fighting game, and I'm like, that shit ain't no fighting game, my nigga. And it is, but like it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Again, making that distinction between what I would consider a fighting game and what isn't. For Honor, yes, I've had people like sometimes in chat people bring it up or whatever, but also like when I'm out in the wild, when I'm touching grass and shit, sometimes it comes up that like. When I'm in public and I'm not like when I'm in my hometown and I'm in public and I'm not at like a con or something like that, I don't really like talking about what I do or telling people I'm a YouTuber and shit like that, or if I'm in an Uber or whatever. Like I don't really like talking about what I do. It's just I'm a private guy. I just don't, you know what I'm saying? None of your business. But sometimes it does come up, or sometimes like I will talk about it. And sometimes when I talk about like I play fighting games and shit, For Honor I feel like comes up a lot. You're like, oh yeah, like you play For Honor, and I'm like, nah. And in my head, I'd be thinking, I think I said fighting it. You know what I'm saying? But like, for one, I didn't realize that game was that popular. But like, that comes up more often than I would expect when I talk about fighting games.
There is one more fighting game hybrid type that deserves its own subcategory: the arena fighter.
Ah, yes, the arena fighter. It's where you stick all the Dragon Ball, Naruto.
Is that these games all use a side view perspective. So what happens if you don't? In 1993, Sega released a game called Dark Edge, which was an early attempt at an 8-way movement 3D fighting
I've never seen this game
with
before.
2D sprites, but the camera did not rotate with the players. This caused all sorts of problems, one of which was players' bodies obscuring the opponent. They hilariously kept hold back to block, which meant if you were in the background, you could hold up to block and do half-circle downward special moves. Good luck doing an upside-down SNK motion from each direction. The fact that
That's
you could
so
reposition
cursed.
and attack upwards
Holy
and
Kusoge.
downwards complete with matching sprites was novel, but the 8-way free ground movement had been around forever in the form of wrestling games and co-op beat-em-up games in the 80s. Later, SNK took this control scheme, added left-right auto-facing, and made the fighting game Aggressors of Dark Combat, which even flexes its free ground movement before the fight starts. It's starting to feel like there's nothing SNK hasn't thought of. But you still can't attack upwards and downwards, so it wasn't until 3D engines with polygons when this could be done convincingly. And so we got Air Guys, a polygonal fighting game with free ground movement and Final Fantasy VII characters. The camera is higher this time to prevent characters obscuring each other, and the characters can face any direction. To autoface, you must hold down the guard button, which locks onto your opponent, kind of like a 3D Zelda game. But they ambitiously kept the high-low blocking system where you could block low by either holding guard and being still, or block high by either holding guard while moving, or standing still without holding guard. Did you get all that? While seriously unique and sophisticated, it's hard not to feel like they shoehorned this archetypal 3D fighting game system into an arena perspective. Just imagine if Zelda had highs, lows, and mids. Like hold back to block in Dark Edge, it just didn't catch on. But a year later, Capcom simplified things with the game Power Stone, which had no blocking and no locking on. But it didn't need blocking because
I've never
the
actually
free
played
ground
Power
movement
Stone.
with jumping gave many ways to dodge, and without auto-facing, people had to aim their attacks. These games have a sort of isometric perspective where the camera has a limited range of movement and rotation. It's like playing a fighting game in a diorama.
What's a diorama?
But arena fighters like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm have a camera that moves much more freely and rotates around the arena. Players have free ground movement, and attacking makes you automatically face your opponent. But while a free roaming camera
I still don't think I've ever played an arena fighter that I think handles movement, the camera, and overall just the fluidity of the gameplay better than the Naruto Storm series.
lets you see your favorite characters in all sorts of cool angles. It also means the whims of the cameraman will determine who will have the more favorable perspective and which direction on your controller will go forward. It seems unpredictable, but I'm sure someone out there has found the best strategies to make the camera work in their favor. But the Arena Fighter Dragon Ball
The
Budokai
Demon Slayer game is
Tenkaichi
kind of close.
solves this issue.
Do you know why the Demon Slayer game is close? Because it's developed by CyberConnect 2, which are the people who made the Naruto Storm games, and they very clearly took a lot of what they learned and did in the Storm series and brought it over to Demon Slayer. That's why it's close.
By giving both players their own third-person over-the-shoulder perspective, but of course, this requires both players to have their own screens or play split screen. But we've now come a long way from the original archetype and are getting into the perspectives of other well-established genres like third-person shooters. Both third-person shooters and third-person fighting games have missiles or missile-like attacks, but only the third-person shooter focuses on firearms. Firearms are antithetical to martial arts combat for obvious reasons. These weapons have practically unlimited reach and speed, fire instantly, and bullets are unblockable and undodgeable unless you're in the Matrix. Firearms make distance and speed irrelevant, so much so that pistols in shooting games often function more like barcode scanners than actual guns firing bullets. This is called hit scan, and you can see this in action if you go frame by frame on a Valorant match. The kill indicator appears the moment the player clicks the mouse, even before the animation of the enemy getting shot. Firearms work in tactical shooters because aiming is a fundamental skill in them.
Yo. Whoa. Are we seeing this nigga's hand in his screen? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Firearms work in tactical shooters because aiming is a fundamental skill in them. But in fighting games, aim has never been
Oh, that dude is cracked, bro.
a
What?
dominant skill because these games already do most of the aiming for you. Third-person fighting games like Gundam Versus and For Honor have lock-on systems, and in the case of ARMS, the players are always facing each other. And if you think about it, fighting games taking place in 2 dimensions is a form of auto-aim because there is no third dimension in which to miss your attacks. A fighting game where you pit 2 players in an arena with guns that automatically aim at each other would not be much of a game at all. Even beam attacks and pistols in Marvel vs. Capcom games have significant startup animations and travel time. They are not even close to instantaneous. But in the genre-to-genre case of the Predator effect, Guilty Gear Strive introduced Happy Chaos, who brought with him an actual hit-scanning pistol that fires instantly and aims automatically. Seriously. With the pistol drawn, you can fire at any range, fire while running and jumping, and even while punching and kicking.
Oh wow, gets the reload, this is dangerous. How do you get in?
Buff him.
The caveats are, you need concentration meter to use it, you need to reload, you cannot block with the pistol drawn while your opponent can block the bullets, and the reticule needs time to lock on. But if you hit your opponent with a water balloon, the reticule will lock on quicker until they get dry again. This was definitely a bold character design that is totally anime, but just appreciate what it took to make the gun balanced. It was controversial because you cannot react to an attack that happens instantly, keeping your distance is futile when an attack has unlimited range, and there's not much to time when the goal is to shoot.
As somebody who didn't play Strive very much during Happy Chaos's reign, I think the character is sick. But I understand.
Moves will counterattack from a given distance. Once you got the timing and distance down, you can concentrate on the R, reaction.
This is why fighting games tend to stick to projectiles and martial arts, and it's why so many of these games use the side perspective. It's simply the best angle to gauge the speed and range of the huge variety of moves that each character has, making it the go-to perspective of competitive play. This is not to say the perspectives used by arena fighters are not suited for competition, it's just that it makes the gameplay take a huge departure from both the archetypal games and platform fighters.
I don't think I've ever really found the camera too much of an issue in a Storm game.
But regardless, arena fighters are fighting games, if not just for the fact that they are more that than anything else. And ultimately, they literally brought fresh new perspectives to an old genre, either by using one camera angle or by giving each player their own angle. And just like that, this completes the fighting game tree. An interesting thing to note about this tree is that Dragon Ball has a game from every category except one. But just to be complete, what about the first-person fighting game? There are novelty modes in fighting games that have tried this, but you'll soon realize 1, you can't see your own character, which is sad, and moves like rolling or spinning kicks will probably just make you throw up, unless your body can rotate without your head, like Exorcist Ryu. The closest thing is maybe Chivalry, which allows you to play in both third and first-person modes, but here's the thing, there is no lock-on system. So is this a first-person fighting game with swords, or a first-person shooter without guns? At this point, we're hitting the limits of what we can
I'd call that a first-person shooter without guns, personally.
confidently call a fighting game, so we'll just leave this to the scientists. This might all seem like an ultra-nerdy exercise in making genre classifications for something already so niche, but it particularly matters in fighting games because the sheer number of games and game types create a diverse culture not so different from rock music. Like a music festival, the biggest tournaments host a variety of fighting games with multiple stages, and people choose what they want to watch and play. Many people like to play multiple games.
So I thought of something else I wanted to add on to what I said when we started watching this video about making that distinction between what is a fighting game, you know what I mean? And I think part of the reason that I feel the need to have that distinction is because of the confusion it causes otherwise, right? It's not, I don't necessarily have an issue with somebody calling Naruto Storm a fighting game. I don't have an issue with calling Sparking Zero a fighting game. The reason why I feel like that distinction needs to be made is for clarification's sake for those who don't already inherently understand what the distinction is. Because you guys in my chat right now, how often do we have people come in asking me, hey, do you think there's a chance for Sparking Zero to be at EVO? Hey, do you think Sparking Zero will have a competitive scene? Hey, do you think, you know what I'm saying? And we get this all the time for these anime games that come up, and it's like, no, and I don't have to think about it because it's just, it's not that type of game all the time. Exactly. So it's like, it's not really for my own sake in any way in terms of like, oh, I'm just trying to be elitist, or this is my opinion, so my opinion matters the most. It's like, I feel like if we just agree on making that distinction and people have an understanding of, yes, this is a fighting game and it's from this specific genre, but it's not a fighting game in the same way that this game is, which is why you're not going to see it at Common Breaker. You're not going to see it at CEO. You're not going to see it at Evo. Maybe as a side tournament, but not as a serious main game event. You know what I mean? Like it's a very different type of fighting game. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's important to note when I spoke earlier about you know, making that distinction and helping people understand that difference.
Might only deeply care about one. Some people only like the old games of a series, and some feel the latest is greatest. There are communities within communities that have strong feelings about game mechanics, franchises, and yes, popularity. In 2002, Nickelback got rocks thrown at them for playing at a metal festival by a few audience members that did not take kindly to their type of music.
See ya! I have no idea what we were doing there, and it was just a horrible, horrible mistake. In their defense, if I went to a metal festival, I wouldn't want to see Nickelback either.
This isn't to say Guilty Gear fans are going to start throwing rocks at Smash players, but it's good to know a little bit about the audience you're speaking to.
That was one that our manager got spanked for heavy hard. It was like, what were we doing here, dude? Why the f did you know, were we playing in Portugal with a bunch of metal bands? You know, and he's just like, sorry, I didn't know.
I guess in a
like,
counter argument perspective, at one point, Marvel wasn't taken seriously at first for similar reasons. So if a community forms to make their own tournament series like Smash with Genesis, then fighting game would apply. And I think there's room for innovation. And I don't want to say that a game like a Sparking Zero, like an anime arena fighter, could never be a serious competitive game. But I think generally speaking, and where we're currently at with those types of games, they're not at a point in their development or in their lifespan or whatever to where they can be on that stage. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, at some point these games, like hell, we as we learn, like there was a point where they thought combos were glitches. You know what I'm saying? Like everything starts somewhere, and like certain things get introduced, new mechanics, new systems, new styles, genres and subgenres. It all starts somewhere, and at some point you're gonna have people who are very much in favor of it and people who are very much against it, and this shouldn't be taken seriously and this should, and etc. etc. But I don't think games like I said, like Naruto Storm or Sparking Zero have evolved enough and are honestly as tight enough in their development and their systems and their mechanics to be on the level or that stage of like a Tekken or a Street Fighter. And again, Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, those games have their fair share of jank and imbalance and everything like that. But I do think they're better built than a lot of these like anime arena fighters and shit.
So if spring rolls are not burritos and 2XKO is not a Tekken-like, what is 2XKO actually like? There's no question it lands somewhere between the versus and anime archetypes, which means it's an archetypal 2D hold back to block game with left-right and high-low mix-ups. In addition to the standard 3-way jump, each character can do a super jump like in KOF, except the game lets you slightly drift in the air like in versus games. You can block anything in the air, and some characters have jump modifiers like Ari's air dash and Echo's forward hop. The game also allows both dashing and running, but like in versus games, you can wave dash, making
those games seem to be built more for competition. It's another thing too. It's not necessarily that. Well, actually, they are. Games like Tekken and Street Fighter specifically at this point are developed with actual esports competition in mind, whereas a game like Sparking Zero is not. So that is obviously one very big difference. But also, like, typically, when someone's developing a Naruto game or a Demon Slayer game or a Dragon Ball game, outside of DBFZ, of course, they're not developed in mind with, we want this to be a serious competitive game that people can put all this time and energy into and take it to this super high level. It's, no, we want to create a fun, casual game that people can jump into and mash buttons with their favorite characters from their favorite anime and have a good time. You know what I mean? I think that's a very distinctive difference.
But the biggest versus element in 2XKO is that it's a tag fighter where you must select two characters. Like the title of the game suggests, the goal is to KO both characters of the opposing team. The tag system blends versus game rules with those of Tekken tag games. Like in versus games, your partner can be used as an assist by holding a direction and tapping the tag button, which can help you or hurt you if you get happy birthdayed. But like in Tekken tag games, switching characters does not bring them in attacking, and you can also do a tag launcher that switches characters so they can take over your combo. 2xKO also lets you switch to the character that is assisting you in what's called handshake tag, something we've seen in the anime fighter BlazBlue cross tag battle. But if you choose the freestyle fuse, you can switch back again to the other character, allowing for some serious bullying. This allows for some oppressive high-low and left-right mix-up potential, and Sean made sure to show me by
I don't know about that take because the development flaws are what made MVC2 and Melee flourish. So, to some degree, yes, but also those games got sequels that were developed with the intent to, for one, fix a lot of those flaws and issues, or like, you know what I'm saying, things that kind of made those games, I guess, unique or special or charming at that time, and were meant to be taken more serious. You know what I mean? Like, sure, that might have been the draw or appeal or the charm at some point, but those games didn't just end there. They continued to evolve. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying, whereas like I don't feel like some of these anime titles and things like that have reached that point in their evolution.
Challenging me to games of bet you can't block this.
Oh, you were low that time. What?
So you gotta guess.
But there are defensive options too. When blocking, you can dash forward to do a Marvel-like push block, but there's a new mechanic where you can also dash backwards to do an escape called retreating guard. But this one can be beaten by lows, so don't be predictable. There's also a parry if you'd like a higher risk, higher reward option. As for combo breakers, there is a burst-like mechanic called dynamic save that lets you break out of combos and switch characters. And for getting knocked down, you have multiple get-up options, including an attack with brief invulnerability, but be careful as it can be punished if blocked. But the most novel feature is the duo mode, where one team can be controlled by 2 players, making 2v2 matches possible for a total of 4 players. We've seen Street Fighter Cross Tekken do something like this, but only the point character could summon their partner.
That's interesting, since in the case of Smash Bros, fixing those flaws is particularly the reason why Smash Melee is still being played today. Well, I think with Smash in particular, it also goes to the point where like that game's not meant to be a super serious competitive fighting game. You know what I mean? Like from my understanding, Sakurai designed Smash to be casual, beginner friendly, not super sweaty, serious like the other fighting games that he was accustomed to playing. You know what I'm saying? And there's obvious influence from more traditional fighting games, but that wasn't what I think he originally intended.
To the infamous moment during EVO 2012 when Mike Ross wasn't allowed to play for an entire round.
Wow, that's incredible! Mike Ross did not get to play!
2xKO will let the player off screen play by letting them assist and dynamic save, and with handshake tag and tag launchers, there will be many more ways of switching between players. But this will also demand a new level of
Sakurai has changed his mind to some degree on that topic.
Have not had to do. As you can see,
I don't know,
this
but
is
maybe
not a simple game. Anime and versus style games almost never are. But what it does try to do is make learning and playing it as accessible as possible. The button layout has light, medium, and heavy attacks, which can be pressed in sequence to perform a chain combo, which can be cancelled into a special attack, which is done by pressing a special attack button, just like we've seen in Smash. And yes, there are auto combos like in Dragon Ball FighterZ if you choose the pulse fuse, but instead of just mashing one attack button to do a combo, you can mash on your own combination to do different combos. But the most accessible thing of all is that it will be free to play, making it much easier to convince your friends to get into it. And the rollback netcode will make the net play as smooth as possible.
Hooray!
So if 2xKO were a band, I think it would be Polyphia. And not just because the character select music sounds like them, and not because both have names that are generic descriptors of their respective fields. Polyphia blends the technicality of progressive metal with the sounds of EDM, Jimi Hendrix, hip-hop, and even K-pop to make something complex yet accessible for modern times. Just like how 2XKO keeps the intricacy of anime and versus-style games while making it approachable for newcomers. Instead of abandoning what made their traditions great, they tweak or tone down just the aspects that scare people away. What is tweaked, of course, never comes without controversy. Polyphia guitarist Tim Henson got in some heat for calling a classic guitar technique a boomer bend.
It describes a very specific guitar bending lick commonly used in music from the 60s and 70s, the age of the baby boomer.
And the 2XKO equivalent of this would be the removal of motion inputs, or I guess in this case, millennial inputs. But this concept goes all the way back
Millennial
to Rising
inputs.
Thunder, which was made by Radiant Entertainment, who were later acquired by Riot Games to make 2XKO.
There's a pretty active dialogue, and has been for years, among fighting game players about accessibility and is it good, is it bad? And usually people talk about it as a zero-sum game, like if you're going to make the game easier, then it's going to be worse for good players. We try to think about it in terms of fun. Once you get into the fun of understanding what a fighting game really is, about the mind reading and the high stakes sort of fast-paced poker of like that's addictive, and we want to like bring that fun to as many people as possible by removing maybe the things that make fighting games kind of scary but aren't core to like the real fighting game experience. And another one is like it's just more fun, I think, to do things with your friends. It took us a while to sort of embrace like teamwork, but once we did and we found ways to like still have the carry aspect of like, oh, all the pressure is on me, but I can bring a friend along and we can like have teamwork moments. That's when the game started really to get fun, while still having like a real, hopefully endless mastery curve. We want this to be a game that you can play for literally thousands of hours and still discover new things.
Special thanks to Ben, Hetty,
I mean, yeah, it's
and
bound to
everyone at
happen.
Bay
It's the
Area
nature of
Riot
fighting
for
games.
all your support. This was Gerald from Corey Gaming. Thanks for watching. This video is sponsored by Hitbox, the fighting game controller that started the leverless revolution and became an archetype for them.
All right, well, I don't think I need a history of the hitbox right now, but that was a pretty good video. That was a pretty good video. It didn't really go in the direction that I thought it would, but it was very informative, and it taught me a couple of things as well. It definitely did a good job of breaking down like the different archetypes and genres, which is what it says every fighting game type explained. So it was very self-explanatory in terms of the title or whatever. Also, yeah, like Ramos says, hitbox is not the only levelist. We're at a point right now where people use the term or the name hitbox as a generic way to referring to levelist controllers, but hitbox is not the name of the style of controller. That is a name brand. We're at the point now where it's like calling every bandage a band-aid. Like band-aid is not the actual item itself. Band-aid is a brand that makes bandages. And we're at a point now where people refer to all levelist controllers as a hitbox. Oh yeah, like Kleenex. Like Kleenex is not the name. Kleenex is a brand that makes tissues. You know, tissues themselves are not Kleenex. Kleenex makes tissues. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Not that it's that big of a deal, but I just see that a lot, like come up a lot. Because then people, and again, this is only one of those things where I want to make a distinction. It's not that it bothers me, but it's like it becomes confusing when you're trying to talk about these controllers and talk about specific things. It's like, you know, oh, do you have a hitbox? And then it's like, no, I have the Hot 42 leverless controller, or, you know, I have a mixed box, or I have, and that's the thing, because again, like a mixed box is different from a hitbox, which is different from like the Hot 42 leverless controller, which is different from a cross up, which is different from an arcade stick, which is different from, you know what I mean? So it's just like, anyway.
By replacing
That's neither here nor there. That was a dope video. I enjoyed it. I might upload this as a reaction. I feel like I didn't really give enough commentary or like it, you know, add much to the video while we were watching to where it feels like I should upload it, but I don't know. What do you guys think, chat? If I do post this, what do you guys think? Link to the full video will be in the description down below where you guys can go ahead, watch it, or subscribe, like, comment, everything like that on Corey Gaming's channel. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all the content I bring you. Although being such much, I'll have today. Remember, they can happen to swing the bat. Later. You did the outro, so you might as well. I did the outro just in case, but I just like, I don't know. I sent it with the hopes you'd upload because I knew you'd have stuff to say. But do you feel like I added anything or contributed enough in terms of the commentary to where it's worth uploading as a YouTube video? If I do upload it, I probably wouldn't really edit it at all. I would just upload it as is. And only because like I just don't think it's worth the effort of like trimming it down, because the amount of time it would take compared to the views it'll probably get. I just don't think it would be an efficient use of my time. I think especially where you talk about the distinction to you. That's fair. I sent a whisper. Sure.